Bronson got 38, bro. Yo. I'm watching exactly what y'all are watching, besides y'all watching me. Stand there. Yo, what an insane first game. I can't think about anything but that last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Pat, all good, bro. I got plenty of support, and I appreciate your support. Pam, what's up? I know I can count on Pam to be early. Bro, this game is crazy. I can't think about what I'm going to say. The Knicks have to win. They can't lose, yo. If they lose this game, the calls tonight. Jeez. I just wrote in my notes that was premature. He was wilding. You better be sure. Everybody in New York is watching it, Pam. Knicks are up by 1 with a minute left here. Whole Garden chant defense. Oh, Obi. Yo. As a Nets fan, they better win with the Pacers. I'm saying, as a radio host, as a sports fan, the Knicks can't lose this game. We're in for a ridiculous finish. Halliburton, give it up, dude. It doesn't have to be you. Timeout. All right, yo. Mike, this is insane. Jason Dominguez walk off. I think I'll use this time right now to double, triple check the Yankees and Mets box score. But nobody's going to care about that. This game is going to be the full story. But the Mets win 5-1. They had a big 7th inning. From what I remember, Brett Beatty came through. Juan Soto came through with a sac fly. Changing the lineup worked. Sitting Nimmo down, believing in Brett Beatty against Garrett Crochet. And the Mets are able to avoid the sweep against the Boston Red Sox and have a happy flight. So 5-1. That's the most runs they've scored in a week plus. I think I was looking at their schedule. I just ate a freaking peanut butter and jelly sandwich that is not agreeing with my acid indigestion. I got the burps. But yeah, the last time the Mets scored 5 runs or more was May 11th. So let me put that in my notes. It's been 10 days. It's been 10 days since May 11th that the Mets scored more than 5 runs. All right, here we go. What's the timeout?
18.9 in overtime. Challenged by the Pacers. Oh, that may have touched.
It did touch Brunson.
That's why Brunson was trying to get the ball in quickly.
Oh, no.
That's close. Bring on the floors, New York basketball, Indiana's challenge in the room. Oh, that's off Brunson. That's off his right finger, Brunson. That's off Brunson. That is off Brunson. Thank God they didn't have this back.
Hector made you a moderator. Now you got the wrench. Amber, what's up? We're waiting for the Knicks game to end. Yankees walk it off. Mets get a different lineup out there and get the results. Avoid the sweep, but everybody's going to want to talk about the Knicks. I am nervous for the city of New York. There are going to be some uneasy people in this great city if they do indeed blow this game. Because right now, when they rule that this ball went off Brunson, the Pacers get the ball. All they need is 2 to go up 3. If they hit a 3, it's a 2-possession game. If that's the case with, I don't know, double-digit seconds left, not great. Embrace the Martian. Embrace the Martian. Told y'all not to give up on Jason Dominguez. Yeah, that was a no-doubter. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Yo, did I hear Dave Sims a little bit of like John Sterling? Like I heard him say, I think on the belly one, maybe like high, far, gone. I might need that clip. We'll talk after this. Let's see how this game ends. Obi! Yeah. And that's what I just said. OB back in New York, Brooklyn's finest. From Brooklyn. OG and OB and Mikhail from Brooklyn Bridges. I gotta write notes on how this ends. Freaking ball off Brunson. OG dunk. Should have been an and one. Green cover for the Martian. They're about to put me on air right now. I'm assuming you're going to play 5 minutes of spots. Airballed it. Towns short. Their legs. Other way. Other way. Brunson air ball. Karl Anthony Towns short off the front of the rim. Mikal Bridges fumble. That happens when you're late in the game and you're tired and you got nothing left. Right in my notes. Brunson air ball. Cat short off the front of the rim. Bridges fumbles the rebound. Indiana ball. Are you shitting me? Oh, no. People hate New York. And I'm telling you right now, nationally, people are laughing. People are celebrating. People are yucking it up. And what the?
They score 120 plus points. They're 30-2 and about to make it 31-2. This offense, high octane. Well, this game's over. You can literally take the ball out of bounds right now for Indiana and hand it to the guy.
No way.
He can't shoot it with 0.2, 0.3. Yeah, I would just hand Karl Anthony Towns the ball right here. Gosh, you are just throwing salt in the wound here, Cole. Just give him the ball.
Oh.
And the game is over, and Indiana has won, coming back and captured game out of the Eastern Conference Finals on the road in the Garden. And you can see first win of these finals since
Nah, hell nah. Oh, no. 2 minutes?
In a game where Halliburton tied it at 125. 31 points for Halliburton with 11 assists. 30 points for Neesmith on 8 3-point
Nope.
shots made.
Okay.
Siakam had 17.
What in the actuals? Let me get this phone ready. I got a feeling we're gonna go right to the phone. Let me get my box score up here. All right.
We just kept going, kept fighting, and man, that's fun.
I know it's not your goal, but you keep entertaining us. We got to go back to end of regulation. Was there any thought in your mind of taking a 2? And was there hesitation, or were you always going to come back out?
See, like, I'm not a Knicks fan, so my heart is not affected. Like, I can laugh because I'm not a fan, yo. I am not a fan, so that doesn't hurt my heart. As I'm a sports fan, that was ridiculous and should never happen. And if this series goes the way of the Pacers, that is the change. That is the game. That is the reason right there. You cannot let that happen under any circumstance, yo. It was a party in the Garden. It was over. It was done, yo. I left the crib. You know, when I started to, like, get my bag, get my water, put my shit together. Deuce McBride got fouled on. You guys about to hear. I'm just opening up the show like this.
Friday, 7 o'clock, right here on TNT. Coming up next, inside the NBA.
Look at Reggie.
By Kia.
Yeah. Good evening, New York City. I don't know what I don't know what I just saw. I don't know what just happened. I had to throw out all of the notes that I wrote. I thought this was about to be a party. I thought this was about to be a celebration. I thought there was going to be talk of Knicks in 5, maybe even a sweep. It was looking like the most dominant performance from the New York Knicks in these playoffs. It was looking like a garden party, a sure thing, no doubt about it. Choke in overtime in game 1. 888-808-1019. Somebody call the fan and tell me what happened. So my producer Rami texts me, says, we'll be in the Boomer and Geo studio. And I said, I'm on my way, but I'm watching the Knick game. Deuce McBride gets fouled shooting a 3. Karl Anthony Towns gets fouled shooting a 3. I'm like, oh, we out. This game is over. The Pacers are folding. I get in the car. And by the time I get through the tunnel to get the radio back on, this cat, Aaron Nesmith, is going Reggie Miller. He's going Steph Curry. He's going off. And I'm like, what the hell? Andrew Nembhard, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese. I was ready to talk about how these guys had 8 days off and how these guys aren't ready to play against the Knicks and they're not ready for the Garden. And I just deleted all of the notes that I had. There's the things that I was going to say about the bench and how Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson got to chill on the bench. Man, it is eerie. I just turned it off because the last image I saw was Reggie Miller pointing with this like evil grin. He looked like the Grinch or something. But man, this kid, Aaron Nesmith hits 6 out of 7 threes, and Halliburton with the shooter's bounce and the ball going in off the bounce straight down. But his toe was on the line like KD, and he threw the choke symbol up prematurely because I'm like, hey, you better be sure you throw that Reggie Miller choke up in the Garden. You better be positive. His foot was on the line. And then they flashed that the Pacers went on a 17-6 run in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. The Knicks can't be serious. You got to be more serious. You got to hit your free throws. You got to dribble the clock out, the shot clock, when you're up by that much. That is all time bad, disappointing. They had a 17-point lead in this game. That was their largest lead. There is no way on God's green earth that in the Eastern Conference Finals, game 1 in your building, you let these corn farmers come back and play you like that. 888-808-1019. It goes to overtime. And the Pacers are like, I'm thinking that the Pacers already celebrated. They already ran on the floor that they won. Like, they're not going to win in overtime because they already thought that they won. They're going to take their foot off the gas. Like, this, it's more desperation for the Knicks. But then the Knicks can't really get it going. Karl Anthony Towns hits a bucket. But then when it gets down to it, Brunson airballs one, or no, really, it's when the ball goes off of Brunson, gets challenged, and then OG has the dunk. Could have been an and one. How did all this just happen? My head is spinning. Brunson airball, Cat shoots the ball short because you know what? You're playing overtime and you thought the game was won. You don't even have your legs. You don't even have your wits about you. You shouldn't be in this position. Bridges gets the rebound, but then they swipe at it. It fumbles and knocks off him out of bounds. That's game. And now you got to come back in 2 days and act like that never happened. Now you got to come up. It's insane. We thought it was insane the way that the Knicks stole game 1 and game 2 in Boston. I am in shock right now. I don't even know how to proceed. So what I'm going to do is go to the phone. I said somebody call, and you guys call quickly. First is John in St. Louis on the fan. What's up, John?
Wow, that is an ultimate. How can you? I mean, he put up the sign early, but that is the ultimate choke job, is it not, Keith?
That's an all-time bad. Like I don't know what to compare it to, honestly.
things went wrong. It's ridiculous. How did they come back from this? And like you said, in your own building, the Knicks looked so spectacular through two semi-tough series, and now to have this happen, I thought they put up that graphic that said 20-6 in the last 245. That's insane.
No, that's an insane fail, choke, let your guard down, leave the back door open, and they absolutely come through and rob you of everything. Thanks for the call, John in St. Louis. We've got people calling from all over the country. The whole country watched that. It's the Eastern Conference Finals. It's game 1 in New York. And I just said this on the live stream. You know they hate New York elsewhere. You know nationally they are yucking it up. They are laughing at halftime. I thought the audacity of Charles Barkley to say, oh, well, the Knicks can't keep up this pace. The Knicks won't be able to keep up this pace with the Pacers. I'm like, what are you talking about? The first half was great. And the Knicks were in control. The Knicks seemed like the team with the upper hand. I'm literally writing my notes, and I'm like, no way did they get to this third round. And maybe the third round is going to be easier than the first and second round. Silly me. Silly me. It's a long game. It's 48 minutes plus overtime in Houston. Liam, you're on the Fan in New York. Tell us something.
I am absolutely sick. I don't even know what to say, man. Like, this is giving me flashback to the 90s. You mentioned Reggie Miller. I just can't. Make me feel good, Keith. That's all I can say, man.
It's just the first game. If this is game 5, if this is game 7, you're done. It's the first game of the series. And what you saw tonight, the Knicks are tougher. They play better defense. The Knicks can still win this series. But if they lose this series, that's how they lost it tonight.
And it's interesting because the Knicks got nicked tonight. The Knicks are the one that usually come back down from big deficits to win. So being on the other side, the team should have stepped up and done something about it. But I put this on Thibodeau, not being in the opposite side for a change. And that's when I was very confident in this game because they were up by a big, but even from the get-go, they didn't fall behind by too many. So watching this game, it's a good point that you make, but I really put this on the coach of trying to wind down the clock and knowing how to manage the game.
Absolutely.
When you're up.
It's kind of like, thanks for the call, Liam. It's going to be all right. It's a long series, but it just made me think of, it's kind of like in the NFL when they talk about how head coaches have to manage the clock with the lead down the stretch, run the ball, use your timeouts, don't throw the ball. They unraveled, and it's like, that's why I said, like, yo, use the entire shot clock and then hit your foul shots. They shot 70% from free throw land from the charity stripe, 28 of 40. That's why I said they got to be more serious. This is the Eastern Conference Finals. You're on the precipice of making history. You've already made history, but like real history. And when you're watching that game, you can't help but think, hey, the Knicks are a better team here. Hey, the Knicks are going to the finals. I know it's just the first half. I know it's just the first game. But most of that game, I'm like, wow, this New York Knicks team is the better team. This New York Knicks team in the Garden right now, they're balling right now. They're hitting shots. They're swagging. They're playing defense. They're taking the ball. And the Pacers, credit to Rick Carlisle, they didn't give up. And they shot the lights out to end it. All around the country. Let's go to Omar in San Francisco on the Fan. What's up, man?
Oh, Keith. These guys were naive tonight. The Knicks were naive. Naive. They didn't close the game. What is going on? No inbounds guarded. Where was the guarding of the inbounds pass?
They got frozen in the moment. And I've seen it happen when you get paralyzed and the fact like this is really going down right now. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I wish I could go back and watch. Like, I'm live right now. I wish I could go back and watch because as it's happening, like I'm driving here as it's happening. So I didn't even see all the threes go down. I'm looking online right now, but I'm in my head. I'm like, this is not real life. It is real life. 20 points in the fourth quarter by Aaron Nesmith. Insane. Omar, thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. This is a tough pill to swallow for the New York Knicks fan. As you reach higher heights, the losses sting a lot more. And I hate to equate it to, the New York Yankees, but like in the World Series, Game 5, I was at that game. We were partying in that game until the 5th inning thinking, oh, we're going back to Cali. We got this one. And when you get up to those highs in a game and they drop you down to rock bottom, it's hard to get up. They got to get up, though. They got to overcome it. They got to absolutely forget about it. Short memory, even up the series. But how? I am dumbfounded. How do you let that happen? And you know what? Not for nothing. The Pacers got the Cavaliers late in the remember that game they stole where Halliburton shot that shot? They made a run and did that against the Cavaliers. So you got to be on guard. You got to keep your guard up. DJ is in East Brunswick on the fan. Go for it.
What's going on, Keith? Real quick, absolutely despicable. I don't trust this team. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I was rooting for them. At this point, I'm not even rooting. Let's go Pacers in 4.
You switched.
You deserve this because your team is as sorry as they played. Up 17 in the 4th quarter. Absolutely despicable. All you SMD Knicks fans, I hope you cry yourself to bed at night.
I don't want that kind of energy. People are hurting right now. I'm looking at Twitter. I'm looking at my chat. People are sick right now. Let's not pile on. I know there's a lot of Knick haters. I said nationally, the national energy is yeah. Party in the street now. Yeah. Shut down 7th Avenue after that. Yeah. But like as a sports fan, as a New York radio host, like I said, I'm freestyling right now because I had a whole different plan. I was gonna big up Campaign. I was gonna big up Mikal Bridges. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns. No, this is shame. This is shameful. This is the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know what to compare that to in the NBA. You can't compare it to KD with his toe on the line. Halliburton ended up coming back and winning in the what I said the closest I could compare it to was last round with the Cavs. I think they had that first game, or maybe it was the second game, where Halliburton hits the 3 to steal it at the end. I just compared it to the World Series. I compared it to being at Game 5. Back-to-back home runs from Judge and Jazz. I'd never seen the stadium, people hugging and high-fiving and throwing popcorn. It was a party in the Garden tonight. Nobody thought that they were leaving like that. From 8 o'clock to probably about 10:40. Jay is on the road. Jay is on the fan. What's up, Jay?
What up, Keith? You hit the nail on the head, man. I felt like I was watching Freeman hit the home run and Judge drop a fly ball. Absolutely disgusted. Saw the first half of the game. Thought, let me get on the road. I got places to go and have to listen to this garbage. But Knicks and 6.
There you go. That was my prediction. Thanks for the call, Jay. 888-808-1019. I guess now my prediction, because my prediction was Knicks in 6 because I respect the Pacers. I respect their coach. He has won a championship. He's a former player. He's got a ton of experience, and they have a ton of gritty guys. They have a ton of guys that just play, and that's what they did tonight. They did not stop playing. They did not hang their heads. They had a whole 8 days off, and they come into the Garden, and they're being outplayed. I'm searching for the words because I thought we were about to party in the USA. I thought this was about to be go New York, go New York, go. I thought we were gonna play the hits, 100 guns, 100 clips, New York State of Mind. I thought this was gonna be a night where we talk about, yo, we might sweep these dudes, we might gentlemen sweep these dudes. Now they say that the series doesn't start until the road team wins. Not only did the road team win, but in that fashion, they got to have a short memory. They gotta absolutely have a short memory and get over this one and come back and take the next one. And then, go to Indiana and be wow. Talk about the series starting when the home team. Yeah, the series didn't start until the 4th quarter. Zev is in Brooklyn on the fan. What's up, Zev?
Hey, Keith, what's up, man?
I'm looking at everything I can look at to try and figure out what to tell these folks. I'm looking at the box score. I'm looking at Twitter. People are just laughing at the Knicks. There's a lot of people, some people are blaming the refs. That happens in every sport and everything. I'm blaming Tom Thibodeau, and we'll try and get some audio from him speaking post game. And I'm blaming the players. They came up late. It's like you can't take your foot off the gas. You got to be serious. You got to be dead ass. You got to lock that win in your building. That can't happen. The unthinkable actually just happened. The improbable, they allowed it to go down.
I know, but just a couple of points, man. I don't know why. You're going on this run in the fourth quarter without
videos has Tom Thibodeau talking.
You bring him in. I was thinking, why don't you wait till you're down, but you're up by double digits? If you get to under double digits, you're up by 9, you're up by 8. Bring him in. Why do you have to bring him with this amazing run going on? It didn't make sense to me. It broke up the flow. It really didn't make sense. So as much as people are going to say Brunson's your best player, no, leave him out. You have this run without him. Leave him out. You're up by 14, 17. I think that was a mistake.
It was weird. Thanks for the call, Zev, because I was thinking about that too. Like before I left the crib, they were doing all that. McBride was in, where I told you I left the house after back-to-back fouls where the Pacers fouled the Knicks shooting the 3. And I'm like, oh, they're dumb as hell. They're folding. They're giving this game away. There's no way they win. They're doing stupid things. And my thought was earlier in the game, I'm like, even if this game stays close, you have Jalen Brunson. You have the best closer, the most clutch player in the game. But then in the fourth quarter, as I'm walking out of the house, I'm like, damn, they didn't even need him. They didn't even need him to close the fourth. The Pacers were giving it away. And so, why do you? Because I don't know. There's a lot of thinking that goes on, right? So Tom Thibodeau says you just can never let your guard down against them. No lead is safe. And now go back to Friday when Knicks fans were saying, hey, get the starters off the floor. This game is over. And Tibbs doesn't think any game is over until the clock says 0-0 and that red light flashes behind the backboard. But this was a strange game. This was a weird one, man. I'm going to try and get some audio. I'm going to try and get some numbers, try and get something to kind of make sense of this. But there is nothing to make sense of it. They failed. They lost. They coughed that one up. It is a choke. It is a choke. It is a choke. And now these Indiana Farmers, they get to live it again. Reggie Miller gets to smile, and Halliburton probably going to roll into the Garden on Friday with his Reggie Miller choke shirt on. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Call me up. We'll be right back. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's insane, actually. My phone blowing up. That's an all-time bad. That's an all-time fail. That's an all-time choke. That's a can't happen in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's a like never live it down type. Bro, I'm looking for stuff. Maybe you guys in the chat can find stuff and help me out. Let me see. Knicks will break your heart. Luckily, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm just a New Yorker. I'm a host on WFAN. All playoffs, we've been pumping up the Knicks, and talking about how special the team is in this run, and like that was dog. Hate to cross compare sports, but I feel like game 1 of the World Series right now. I said it was like game 5 choke, but it's similar to 1. Yeah, weird because they looked like they were the better team through 45 minutes of the game. Yeah, if his put wasn't on the line and they won it in regular, it doesn't matter. He still won it. That's why I said the choke did not come back to haunt him. He was right. I'm headed to sleep, really disgusted the way we puked all. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Quest 1 pulled up. He said, I love the hate on the Knicks. I know the Nets fans are celebrating. Hey, it's there's one place the Nets fans are partying in New York. Yeah, just pull anything from Knicks videos and just tell me in my ear and we'll try and play it from the post game. The players are gonna speak, but Thibodeau. Yeah, I'm turning it up now. Did you already say something? No, I couldn't hear you before. Okay. OKC is scary good. Yeah. The Knicks are gonna be mad in game 2. Of course they are. Have to steal one. No, the next one is in the next one is in the Garden. But of course they you got to get that one back. But the next one is Friday at 8:00 in the Garden. So Knicks in 6 is what I said, and that's gonna actually be like more of like a thing now. I think the Knicks win the series still. But like if they lose the series, that's why, because they couldn't have done that right there. Yeah, I don't know what to compare it to. It's absolute choke job. Four times they've done it. Yeah. Let me see the Pacers. I'm pretty sure they did it in Cleveland that first game or that second game. Yes, it was game 2. Let me see if I can look it up. Pacers, Cavaliers, game 2 comeback. Yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna just get these calls in before 12. The audio is not gonna hit like people's reactions. Okay. Yo, no beats are hitting right now. No songs sound good. Unless you're a Net fan. There's Nets fans in my live stream. They're partying right now. they're Knicks haters. So they're like, that's what I'm saying. The Knicks haters that have been waiting for a moment, they're coming out of the woodwork now. They're crawling from out of the ground like, oh wait, what? The Knicks choke. So I went quickly, but it was an all-time. If you think it's just the Nets, it's the whole league that's eliminated. Everybody is a Knick hater. Like, I went back to see, the Pacers have done this playoffs. They did it in game 2 against the Cavaliers when Halliburton hit that shot and they beat them 120-119. And then I went back the first round, right? Down 7 in the last 40 seconds of overtime to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in that game 5. So, like, not for nothing, I'm sure the Knicks watched film on the Pacers and talked about the Pacers. This wasn't unlikely. It was just improbable, unthinkable that they were down so much with so little time, but they let their guard down. The Knicks got sloppy, got comfortable, missed some shots. They were chucking up shots like the Celtics, and here we are now. I honestly thought we were about to come in here tonight and be like, yo, Knicks won, Yankees won, walk off, and the Mets avoid the sweep. New York won, the bing bong parlay. And that's why we watch. That's why people gamble. That's why people go to these games. And the Garden will get you, man. All them celebrities in the Garden hyping you up, gassing your head up, thinking, hey, we got this. It's all good. We won. We won. Oh, wait, no, it's not done. You got to finish the job all the way. No, you got to all the way seal the deal. It's the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Indiana Pacers are up 1-0. Let's go to Northfield and talk to Gil. What's up, man? You got it.
One good thing, the Yankees won the game tonight. But let me tell you about this Knicks game. 34 seconds left. They're inbound in the ball. They're up by 5 points. Brunson gets it. All he had to do was just dribble. I don't care when you dribble to. Let them foul you. You're the guy we want on the line. And if he makes the 2, we're up by 7. The game's over. If he makes 1 or 2, we're still up by 6. But at the end, it's like they took their foot off the gas. They missed the 2. Towns missed a free throw, and OG missed a free throw. But what are you going to do? We'll come back and we'll win Friday night, and we'll get them back. That's all you can do.
Thanks for the call. And yeah, positive energy is needed now. Belief is needed now. Something I said was, hey, the Pacers aren't going to be a pushover. And if you believed in the Knicks, or even if you were hating on the Knicks or not believing in the Knicks, like, now is the time to believe. And hell, after the first game, like, you can't quit on them now. You can't quit on them now. You got to expect them to come back Friday, even up the series, go to Indiana, take the next one. And not for nothing, this Knicks team, they need adversity. They need their backs against the wall. They need to have this feeling. This is going to be a gut check, a reality check. Let's hear from the head coach. I told you Tom Thibodeau was already speaking, and I read from you. I read for you what he said about letting your guard down. Rami, go ahead and play what we got. Play whatever one. We'll react to it.
They started off the game, in a good rhythm, and then we did much better as the half went on. And then, down the stretch, we didn't do what we needed to do.
Yeah, his demeanor and the way he delivers, I know he's not worried. It's a series, but he's just telling you, point blank, this is what happened. This is what they did. This is what we didn't do. We lost. Let's take another call, and then we'll see if we got any other audio. Mark in Matawan on the Fan. What's up, Mark?
Hey, what's going on, Keith? How you doing?
All right, man. Just trying to put the pieces together from this broken game 1 and this collapse in the Garden.
Yeah, same here. Basically, I just had a question for you.
So you have 3 more from Tibbs? Okay, we'll play them. We'll just play them all next.
Got fouled. I thought the last possession when he passed the ball with 16 seconds to Towns, and he ended up missing the free throw. I mean, he's the more clutch guy. I want him taking the free throws. I feel like he should have, maybe held the ball until he got fouled. But see what you thought on that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe not being as much in the flow of the game, being on the bench, and then just being in a spot where you weren't expecting to be, and you almost kind of get paralyzed in the moment. You kind of just you don't think right in the moment because this isn't supposed to be where you are. This game is done. We're up by double-digit points. Like, we're partying already. Like, how did this happen? How did this guy drain 6 threes in the fourth quarter to bring this back? And you don't do the simple things you got to do to to finish the game, to close the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just felt like at the end with the, that last possession, he was kind of like, they were panicking, like dribbling, really quick and just trying to make something happen to where they should have been basically just standing still and, waiting for him to get fouled. But
yeah, but he can miss foul shots too. They all can miss. I don't know. I just think they unraveled in the heat of the moment. 888-808-1019. Thanks for the call. It's done now. Can't get it back now. And like I said, I thought it was over myself. I was watching the whole game at my house and didn't want to leave because I'm like, what if something happens in the fourth quarter that I needed to see? And as I'm driving and listening, and then you get in the tunnel and I'm missing them. Next thing I get out of the tunnel, and I think I hear Monica McNutt about like saying something about they need to dribble the clock out or not. They were shooting too early in the shot clock. And that, them missing threes, that was giving the Pacers more opportunities. And you could see the Pacers starting to believe like, hey, we're not done, and cutting the lead smaller and smaller. We've got more cuts from Tom Thibodeau. Let's hear what he's got to say. Run it.
They got too much airspace, and some of it is transition. Some of it is, coming off pin downs. Some of it communication. I want to take a look at the film.
He's a big film guy. That's why I say I know they're going to lock in. I know they've already watched film of the Pacers. They should have had a little bit more urgency late in the game. Like, hey, this is what these guys do. They have stolen games like this in both rounds of the playoffs. Be on guard, be smart, make smart plays, smart decisions. But like I said, it's heat of the moment. You get kind of paralyzed and you don't do the simple things to win the game.
Disappointment when you fall short, but it doesn't. We have to take a look at the film, make our corrections, and then we got to change quickly for game two. We got to be ready for game two, and that's all you look at. So you have to take disappointment and turn that into more determination. Same thing, like there's a lot of emotional highs and lows in the playoffs. You got to bounce back quickly. You look at the film, make your corrections, get ready for game two. And that's, when you go into the playoffs, you lay out the plan of how you're going to approach the entire playoffs.
Short memory, but film, right? So today is Wednesday. It's about to be Thursday. They will have their film study, meetings, practice, and then Friday comes and you got to even up the series. You got to have a short memory and forget about what happened. But like for our intents and purposes, the fans don't get to go to the film room. The fans don't go to shoot around. The fans don't get to play. There are going to be fans with a tough time sleeping tonight. There are going to be some fans that can't shake this and the way that this went from their mind, and every single play, from inbound plays to missed free throws to turnovers to challenges to no, because we're in the Eastern Conference Finals and that's the first game, and you got to be the first to win 4 to get back to the NBA Finals. And you had one in your grasp. Like for 45 minutes, you felt like, yeah, this one's going to us. Even when it was a little back and forth, even when what the Pacers have, a 7-point lead at one point. Yeah, their largest lead was 7 points, but you still didn't feel like, I remember at that point, I'm like, that's not enough. They got Brunson. Once they get to the fourth quarter, they got Brunson. But yeah, it was a little different tonight when you look at the bench. And like I said, Campaign got some run, got some threes off. We hadn't seen that. Karl Anthony Towns shooting the 3. He hit 4 threes tonight. I knew that would be back. He had 35. Brunson, that's another thing, yo. You get a 43-point game and a 35-point game from your 2 all-stars. You can't lose that game. Hal is down in AC. Hal, you're on the Fan in New York. What's up?
Yeah, man. So, the good news is the corrections are very easy on this one. The bad news is the person that needs to be corrected is Brunson. And you hit the nail on the head. When they brought him in for 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, that took a lot of his wheelhouse. He's used to being out there.
Yeah, wasn't in the flow of the game. Wasn't what he was used. It's like just little things like that are different. These guys are creatures of habit. When I say creatures of habit, like that's a little bit unorthodox for them. And if you're already sitting on the bench thinking that the game is won, and then you get thrown in there and the game starts to swing the other way, and you got to turn it up. You got to turn your intensity up and your focus up. It's tough.
Give me 10 more seconds. Yeah. So when he came in, it looked to me like he started playing like they were down double digits.
Yeah, because he's
like all he had to do was just they could have had to play him, which they really didn't. They could have let him that ice and won the game. But if you're going to bring him in, be a decoy, facilitate.
Sure. Because you know, and I know, and everybody knows. Brunson comes in. Brunson's got the cape on. He's Captain Clutch. He's supposed to close. He's supposed to take all the shots.
It was necessary, Keith.
Didn't need to, but yeah, it's just a tough way to take a L. Thanks for the call, Al. It's just a tough way to see them go down. And it seems like they went away from what they usually do, their regular formula, their recipe for success, and they got in that moment. Props to this kid Neesmith and his performance. Sometimes you got to do that too. Sometimes you got to look at that's an all-timer. He hit 8 out of 9 threes, 6 out of 7 in the fourth quarter. Out of his 30 points, 20 of them came in closing time. He refused to lose. He himself decided, I'm hot right now. And if they keep letting me shoot, I'm draining these. And then Tyrese Halliburton, the face of the franchise, with the opportunity, with the game on the line, he almost won it in regulation, if we're being real. He almost won it in regulation. If his foot was an inch and a half back, that's game without OT. So just a tough night and a tough way to go. Let's take another call. I know we're going to go through this the entire night. Ryan is in West Islip next up on the Fan. Ryan, what you thinking?
Hey, Keith. I appreciate you having me on. Got a lot of emotions, a lot of different ways I could say that sucks, but I'm going to use my time to say one thing. A backbreaking game one loss that derails a playoff run and a championship team are two mutually exclusive things. They can't exist within one another. If we're really a championship team, there's going to be a bump in the road. And like you said, that short memory, we have to come out angry and put our foot on the neck, and we have to, be the championship team that we all believe and want to see. So, I mean, it's still Knicks State, so it's going to be Knicks State. Go New York, go New York.
You got it. They could win the next 4 in a row and still Knicks in 5 gentlemen sweep. 888-808-1009. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll say good morning on the other side and right back after this. Stay here. Got to switch studios. All right, yo. This is real behind the scenes. Come along with me. Let me put my or not mine, but let me put out of respect for Boomer and Geo. This is Geo's seat. Let me put the chair back and make sure I leave everything as it was when I came in. I'm usually not in the studio, but Rami set me up over here. I think he couldn't switch from the Yankee game, which is all good. Perfectly fine. We used to do it like that. Used to be the norm, honestly. So I just heard the door. Did somebody go in here? Oh, Nico. What up, bro? So now we're switching producers and studios. This is something that you guys don't usually see, because if you're listening to the radio, we don't announce it on the radio. We just do what we got to do out here, I don't know when we're going to get to the Brett Beatty talk and Jason Dominguez talk, but that's fine. What a waste. Let me see if I can put my real camera on too while we have this time to switch. Because this is my MacBook camera right now, which like I wasn't going to set up my digital camera, my webcam over there because I knew I would have to move. So let me see if I can do this right now. Get us a little better HD view here. Appreciate y'all watching, man. Send stuff in the chat. Like I said, I didn't get to watch that fourth quarter from like 8 minutes on because I traveled here. And I'm sitting in the car as they cut it to like 3. And Rick Carlisle calls timeout, and I run upstairs, and I'm like, no way are they about to blow this game. They I don't know. I'm still in shock, honestly. In the Eastern Conference Finals, like, you're professionals. You played now 12 playoff games this year with this group. Like, that's inexcusable. And if you lose the series forever, I don't think they're going to lose the series. I'm not saying that. I'm not jumping ahead because, like, they dominated them at points of this game. They look like the better team for most of this game. But if you hang your head about that and you let that linger and you do lose the series, it's going to come back to, hey, that was a win. You had that one in the bag with like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That was a win is a win is a win in every level of basketball and every corner of the universe. Like, you figure out how to like win by at least one. It took, like, I don't know. I got to look up. They always have like the win probability. It took everything for the Pacers to even get that to overtime and then win it in overtime. From missed free throws, turnovers, stupid decisions by the Knicks.
Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Well, a 14-point lead with 2:35 remaining, withered away with the Knicks unable to respond in OT. That gave the Pacers the lead for keeps as they shocked the Knicks 138-135 in overtime. Kevin Harlan called TNT. Tyrese Halliburton, 31 points, 11 assists, including a long 2 at the buzzer that sent it to OT. Aaron Nesmith, 20 of his 30 coming in the fourth. He had 8 of 9 from deep. Knicks giving back a 17-point fourth quarter lead as they melted down the stretch.
And then they converted
Jalen Brunson poured in 43, but he had 7 of the Knicks' 15 turnovers. Karl Anthony Towns, 35 and 12 rebounds. Knicks gave it away game 1 at home with game 2 at the Garden on Friday night. Mets bounced the Red Sox 5-1. Brett Beatty helped the Mets break out. Couple of hits knocked in 3. Francisco Lindor went deep. Juan Soto struck out 3 times, but knocked in a run with a sac fly. Moved to 3rd in the lineup, also walked as Mets snapped a 3-game skid. And Jason Dominguez, the walk-off solo shot. Yankees rallied by the Rangers 4-3. Cody Bellinger remains red hot. 2 more hits, including a solo shot. Aaron Judge, an RBI single in the 8th that tied it. Bombers won 10 of 13. 50 degrees, raining at Central Park, and that's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
We get it, and we got you. New York sports, no filter. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, at least yesterday is over now. Game 1 is over now. All of the hype and excitement and all the talk about game 1 Wednesday in Madison Square Garden, the Knicks returning to the Eastern Conference Finals. Not the way you draw it up. Well, at least for the first 40, 45 minutes, it was. In my chat, Nicholas says the Knicks had a 99.7% chance to win. You know how they always show the win probability? Like, I left the crib and took eyes off the game. My producer, Rami, texted me to tell me, hey, we'll probably be on at this time. I know. I think the Yankee game ended at 10:05. So I know. I'm like, all right, if the Yankee game is ending at 10:05, I'll be on air by 11 something, no later than 10 after 11. But I said to Rami, I'm like, I live pretty close. I live like a 20-minute ride where I'm like, I'm not leaving. I'm watching the Knicks. I'm not I basically was like, I'm not leaving until the coast is clear. I saw the Deuce McBride foul. I saw the Karl Anthony Towns foul. And I'm like, oh, the Pacers are selling. They're giving it up. They were making the mental mistakes. They were folding. They were giving up. Like, they seemed like they just couldn't think straight. And then one guy gets hot, ball goes this way and that way, and you start making a couple stupid mistakes. And yeah, I encourage y'all to call up, get it out of your system. I encourage y'all to realize that, I think I heard Evan and Tiki and them talking about it today. Like, that Reggie Miller choke sign, that gets glorified, that gets shown. And shout out to Dre. He just said, remind the masses, right? New York Basketball put out a tweet 32 minutes ago. Like, the Reggie Miller choke sign, Knicks won that series in 7. Tyrese Halliburton, history could repeat itself, brother. The Knicks have home court. They could win this in 7, but I still think, I said Knicks in 6. I think it's still Knicks in 6. 888-808-1019. I think the Pacers can get one on their floor. They can get one in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But that's it. And I think now, if you thought that the Knicks came out motivated and looked good tonight, and Karl Anthony Towns was hooping, and OG was doing his thing, and obviously Mikal Bridges had a quick 12 points, and OG hit some threes, and like I said, the defense, as I'm looking at the box score and we're queuing up the calls, as we switch now, May 22nd, OG had 3 blocks. Mikal Bridges had two blocks. Mitchell Robinson had a block. Karl Anthony Towns had a block. OG had 3 steals. Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mikal Bridges all had a steal. There were just moments in the game where it looked like the Knicks defense was just stopping them. And it's crazy because the way the game started, I wrote in my notes, I'm like, this is beautiful basketball. They were not missing. And I said Knicks in 6, but this is looking like it could be a sweep or Knicks in 5 if you get that first game. But it was so efficient the way that the Pacers came out scoring the basketball. And I mean, the energy of the Garden with Karl Anthony Towns hitting his threes and big body Brunson. Brunson, I don't think even hit a 3. He was leading all scorers. If I go back to my notes, I think he was leading all scorers, and he hadn't hit a 3 yet. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It was looking like how you draw it up. It was looking like a party. It was looking like fun, from fun times to the absolute worst time. 888-808-1019. And yeah, the haters are out. The Knick haters are out. But they might have a premature celebration like I thought Halliburton did. Let's hear from the Knicks fans on the fan, and then at some point we're going to talk to these Yankee fans and these Mets fans too, and move this thing right along. Randy is in the Bronx. Randy, what's up, man? You got it.
Randy Keith, how you doing, brother?
All right, I don't know. I don't have the words. I don't have an explanation for this. Like I said, I was preparing a different kind of show, and then I'm out here at the fan, sitting in my car listening to Monica McNutt. And when Carlisle called that timeout where they got it within 3, I ran upstairs, and I'm watching I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I'm in the same boat. thank God Jason Dominguez hit the game-winning home run for the Yankees tonight, but the Knicks had a chance to close this game out. I mean, for some reason, every game they come out, they're always down. It's like when they're in New York, it's like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to come back. And then when it happens, it's like we always fall short. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, for some reason, I'm an OG fan. He needs to get the ball more. He's just standing around for 10, 13 minutes of 4 quarters. Like, move around. Let's get some plays for OG. You know what I'm saying? Like, Brunson, he sees him. Okay, Josh Hart is out there. Cat, okay. Let's try to get some fouls. But OG needs to get that ball in his hands, man. Like, this game, honestly, was stolen from us. We should have won this game. We're up by 17. It's like, this is a heartbreaker. You tell me, man.
Of course it's a heartbreaker. Thanks for the call, Randy. It's a heartbreaker because it's the first time in a long-ass time that you had the Eastern Conference Finals in New York City, in this building, in the Mecca, in Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous. Like, it's a heartbreaker because you had it. You had a 99.7 chance to win. They were up 12. They were up 14. They were up 17. And this game, I can't even say it was stolen. They handed it to him. It wasn't stolen. Is like, stolen is when it's like, it's closer than that, right? Like, game 2, the Pacers stole from the Cavs in the last round, won by 1 point. They stole that game. This game, you were up by so much, you unraveled and handed them the victory. You let them knock down all those shots. You didn't hit your free throws. You had turnovers. You had mistakes. You didn't lock in, and you let your guard down. You handed them this game. They didn't so much steal it. Stealing is something quick. Like, you gave them opportunity after opportunity after, like, and the way that it happened for me, listening on the radio, I can't imagine watching it in real time. That's why I keep going back to y'all. I'm like, I left the crib to come to work thinking, oh, this is a wrap. Literally in my notes, the last notes that I wrote, fourth quarter, they found McBride and Cat shooting threes, and the lead builds to 12. It's a wrap. That's what I wrote. And then I had to start writing other things. Lou is in Bergen County on the fan. Lou, talk to us.
Keith, what's going on, man?
Just trying to do some therapy, some Knick fan therapy on WFAN.
I'm devastated, man. Before I was going to say that, I'll give you my address after so you can bill me an invoice for this therapy session here, man. I'm sitting here as a Mets fan, so you can, kudos to you guys this past weekend, but I'm sitting here, I'm like, I haven't felt this way since 06, Beltran on the shoulders due to airmail and a throw. Sitting here, and I'm like, we finally had it in our building. And I think what happened, at least the way that I saw it, was the Knicks started playing pacer ball to close them out. Like, there were a couple times when, Brunson's like driving up the floor, and even like OG, he was pretty lethargic throughout the night. He just didn't seem like he was fully there. And there was like one of those missed layups where I'm like, choose some more clock, take it slower, play your game. And I think the Pacers looked over at Carlisle and like, wait a minute, like this is our game. Again, you also had Neesmith, who Knicks fans remember last year dropping a 26-footer in Game 3, and he destroyed us then too. So this is, we're no stranger to this, but it's devastating, man.
Yeah, that's what's crazy too. Thanks for the call, Lou. I don't think you underestimated them. I don't think you didn't think that like they were like this. You know your opponent. You know these players. And like I said, I know they watched film. I know they scouted them. You saw them do this to the Bucks and the Cavaliers. It's part of their game. They are so deep that they do stay fresh. And not for nothing, we talked a lot about how conditioned and in shape the Knicks are, but they still only run 8 guys out there. Late in this game, Brunson airball, Cat shoots, it's off the front of the rim. Mikal gets the rebound but can't hold it. Like, that starts to look like you're tired. That starts to look like the other team has fresher legs and is more lively. It hurts because It could be the worst franchise in the worst loss in the franchise history, depending on how this series goes. But they got to bail y'all out. The Knicks got to come back. They got to win the game Friday. They got to even up the series, and they can't lose this series. I remember last series saying after they took the first games, there's no participation trophy to be had. You have to beat the Celtics now. And here we are after coughing up game one. There's no participation trophy to be had anyway. Like I was listening to Evan and Tiki say, like they have to win the series. Like you have to win. Now, like there's even more urgency to win. Speaking of franchise, they set a franchise record for first half points, or they tied the franchise playoff record with 69 points in the first half. There was a lot of buckets, which makes you feel good, right? At half, it's like, yo, that was fun. This is what the whole series is going to be like. Hopefully there is more of that than what we saw in the last 2 minutes and 38 seconds plus overtime. Danny is in Chicago calling into the fan in New York. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Keith. I'd say I'm a big fan, first of all. Been listening to you for a while.
Thank you.
I feel terrible. I feel terrible right now because of this game. I mean, I just watched this game at a bar with some friends, and I just feel terrible. But I want to make a couple points about how bad I think we mismanaged this game and ended up losing it. First of all, I don't understand why we don't occasionally apply the either Haka, right? The Haka guy, you put him at the line. I understand they were going to do that maybe late because maybe you don't want to just give him 3 points. But it's all about the mathematical, like give them 2 instead of the 3.
Yeah.
Letting Lee Smith get 3s. What are you doing? Or at the very least, extend your defense so far out to the 3 or past it.
It's been a problem all season, Dan. They haven't defended the 3 well this entire season. That is something that has been stamped on their foreheads.
And can I make one more point?
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, I think, and listen, Brunson is my favorite player in the world, so I don't want to give him a headache for this or whatever. But I do think that is that one play there when they're inbounding the ball with 34 seconds, and I don't know, it's more of a coaching thing. Whether it's Rick or it's Tibbs, he gets the basketball. I understand you wanted to dish it down to OG there on the block. He had an easy dunk, but he mishandles the pass. He doesn't catch it. They call a foul, but the challenge overturns it. If I'm Bronson there, you're up 5. You got 34 seconds on the clock. Hold the basketball and dribble the clock out.
Yeah, and it's not they weren't thinking.
It's not. You're not thinking. You could get that clock down to 10 seconds of 5. Maybe they foul you. I'd much rather Brunson getting fouled than OG too. It just doesn't make sense. And then my final point, Keith, and I don't want to really overreact, but I think this game alone, this may be an overreaction. I know you got to move on to the next caller, so I'll leave it with this. I think if they lose this series, Tibbs may have to go based on this game.
No. Thanks for the call, Danny. No, let's not go that far. Beating the defending champs in the Boston Celtics, getting out of the second round for the first time after all these years of second round exits, he's safe. Those guys ride for Tibbs, where I think they win the series because of what you just said. We're going to make sure we get to the finals, so they can't even double back to be like, yo, we're going to fire Tibbs. But I told you the Knick haters are out as I'm looking at Twitter. Emmanuel Acho, all of a sudden he's talking about hoop. He should stick to football. I mean, he should barely stick to that. But he says, dear Knicks fans, teams leading playoff games by 14 points or more in the final 2 minutes, 45 seconds of the fourth quarter are 994-1 since 1997. And of course, he uses the picture that like this. The Knicks they need to win the next game and the next game. They need to go up 2-1 because I don't want to see this stupid picture of Tyrese Halliburton with his mouth open doing the choke. It is insane how history repeats itself and how now in this digital social media era, like, what was it, 94 with Reggie? They're putting him side by side with Reggie. I just saw the New York Post. They've already got the 7 minutes ago, the back page, choke 2.0, epic collapse, crushes Knicks in frighteningly familiar fashion. And it's got Tyrese Halliburton in the yellow Indiana Pacer jersey and Reggie Miller in the navy blue one from back then. There are young Knicks fans. They don't really even know about that, but whatever. The thing with that is the Knicks beat them then, and the Knicks have a perfect opportunity to come back and take the series. Gentlemen, sweep them. We've seen series in the playoffs where the first game goes to one team and then the next team turns up and they don't lose another game. King George in the Bronx on the fan. What's up, King George? You got it.
Live long and prosper. Keith Mack, the man who sinks the 8 ball on the first shot when they remove the rack.
Oh, wow.
And I got what I wanted. I wore my George McGinnis jersey because I will never forgive the Knicks for forcing the Nets to.
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, I'm older, and I remember when the Nets had to, because when they absorbed into the NBA, the Knicks added a fee because they moved into their territory.
Yep.
A great show, and I want you to live long and prosper.
Thank you, sir. 888-808-1019. Here we go with Portnoy. Dave Portnoy from Barstool put out a 2-second video of him choking himself in a hotel room. The only way this goes away is if the Knicks win the next game. They got to come out and they got to dominate. You can't let this fester. You can't let this go. Like they're resurfacing the video of the Knicks fans throwing garbage at that Pacers fan that had the Halliburton jersey. They're calling it karma, right? Halliburton had that guy in the Garden tonight. Let's go to Robbie and Lennox on the fan. Welcome back, Robbie.
Hey, Keith, thanks for taking my call. My voice is so shot with yelling not only at Tom Thibodeau, but yelling at Jalen Brunson and yelling at the entire team. Let me make a couple of points. I'll give you a couple stats tonight, okay? All right, here's my first stat, all right? Points off of turnovers, 27-4 in favor of Indiana. That's despicable. The reason the Knicks lost this game is because this team can't do a foul shot beat to save their rear ends, okay? Colin B. Towns makes the second foul shot. We're not talking about this crap, okay? They get a 9-point lead with 52 seconds left. Okay, Halliburton's hot. How about double teaming him? Rick Carlisle absolutely outcoached Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau can't call an offensive play to save his rear end. How in the world did the Knicks give up 3 layups in the last, couple of minutes of overtime? Every time they get the ball out of bounds, all they do is quick lane to Tobin. Who else was making layups? And poor Mitchell Robinson sitting there, he can't defend anybody. The Knicks looked exhausted tonight. They lost their legs in overtime. You could just see it. Guys didn't have their legs, Keith. But I mean, if you don't shoot 28 from 40, you win this game, okay? There's no excuse. If I'm Tom Thibodeau, every one of this stinking team is shooting 100 foul shots like Larry Bird used to shoot. There's no excuse for professional basketball players in a team. There is 12 stinking foul shots. It's unacceptable. You stand there and you shoot with nobody in front of you. And that's why they lost. I don't want to hear about all the other garbage. But the other thing, Keith, is that the three-point shot has become so stupid. When you have a 14-point lead, you don't take three-point shots. It's asinine. And I love Jalen Brunson. God bless his heart. He's tough as nails. He's clutch as hell. But Jalen Brunson, could you ever think like a point guard? You have 45 points tonight, and you have 5 assists. You're a great player, but when you have 5 assists...
Hey, look at SNY Knicks videos, because I think Brunson talked about like finding his teammates.
Anybody better on
Try and get that audio.
And that's the point. And thank God for the Martian.
You got it, Robbie. It's better to vent, get it out, especially do it for everybody to hear, and then maybe you'll feel better about it, and you'll fall asleep, and you'll wake up and realize it's Thursday. And after everybody on the fan gets on and expresses their thoughts and feelings about the game, and you have to go through this for every show, it'll pass, and then they're back on the floor Friday. And it's Memorial Day weekend, and the Knicks have the opportunity to right the ship. Yeah, I'm going back and I'm looking, and it's, Jalen Brunson missed a free throw late. Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby. If any of them don't miss, then you could end up winning by 1, right? This stuff you learn in high school basketball younger. Got to hit your foul shots. Got to hit your foul shots at the pro level in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, teams battling to go to the final. Like, you got to knock down those shots. These are pros. These are pros. It's tough. And then the three-point shot too. Yeah, I think I joked before they turned into the Celtics at some point. So that's what the Celtics are doing, right? The last series, feeling like they're up, they still got to shoot the three. No, when you're up, man, use that whole clock. Take that whole shot clock, dribble, pass the ball, find the open guy, let that guy hold the ball. That's how you protect the lead. They did not protect the lead at all. They unraveled. And I'm looking at the play-by-play, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any damn sense. It's like now people are calling this like one of the biggest chokes, collapses in the history of sports. They have to overcome it. They cannot allow the Pacers to win the series because this will be forever, right? All of the excitement, all of the buzz around New York City and the celebration after getting out of the second round. And, you know, people are jealous of that. People wish they could be in New York. People wish they could be here and experience that. And they live in a corn farm somewhere out in Indiana. And, you know, I'm seeing the jokes online. They show the little Harry Potter's room under the stairs. They say these are Knicks fans watching Aaron Nesmith and Tyrese Halliburton rip their souls out and then going back to their 20 square foot studio apartment. Like, you know, they love to make jokes about how small our apartments are and how expensive it is here. But I know that these Knicks, they know that on the floor that they had those guys. They know that they can get right back on the floor and have them again. So we'll live in this tonight, and you got to hope for the best. Belief is needed now more than ever. Positive energy is needed now more than ever. Because this one will not go away if they lose this series. This will be a stain on this head coach, on Brunson, Cat, OG, Bridges, this group. Not great. Not great. All right, back to the phones. 888-808-1019. We'll eventually get to the Martians walk-off. Judge actually coming up clutch, and Ryan Yarbrough and Jacob deGrom night, right? Some of you went to go see Jacob deGrom. He retired 15 in a row. He looked like deGrom still to me. He still got it. And, yeah, I don't know. The Yankees they're rolling right now. And don't forget to mention that the Mets did what a lot of us were calling for yesterday. Change the lineup. When I was on last night, I said you have to change the lineup. 1, you can't get swept against Garrett Crochet. 2, you want to have a happy flight before you come home. And 3, you're coming home for a holiday weekend against the Dodgers. Do not get swept. Do not have another low-scoring game and then come into that Dodgers series. Like, it could just get really loud and really bad. And, you know, Juan Soto started off the night with 3 Ks, didn't want to swing the bat, and the Mets did what they had to do. Brett Beatty, they ended up scoring 5 runs, and they hadn't scored 5 runs or more in over 10 days. So you kind of hope that little stretch was just baseball being baseball. We'll get to it. Joe is in Holbrook on the Fan. What's up, Joe?
What's going on?
You know. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the previous court talking about his being fired because they don't win the series. You gotta give this another shot. You need to have faith in the bench to give these guys some rest. Like, they're tired. Like, they're not keeping up. And then in the fourth quarter, they tried that running gun pace and played at the Pacers, and that's how they lost the lead. Like, they can't play this type of game. Thibodeau needs to have some faith in his bench. I need 2 guys to come in and give these guys some rest. And they got to come in and do their thing too. They got to come in and contribute because these guys are tired. They're going to lose the series. And if they lose this series because the fatigue is, they'll fight this. They got to get the bench better. That's basically it. Because he's only using 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 9. He's not using everybody. And that's how Thibodeau is. That's the game. Well, game 2 on Friday. Somebody got to come in for some resting. Give these guys some rest. So when the fourth quarter comes in, because they're looking at them, they're seeing how tired they are.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Joe. We do this all the time, literally every day. We talk about the minutes, we talk about the bench. Call a spade a spade. Like Tibbs is not changing this. Who do you want to see? Ariel Huck-Porty? Who do you want to see? Landry Shamet? Precious Achua? Maybe. But really, we've only seen Precious Achua in these playoffs when the bigs got into foul trouble. So he's not going to just do that because, tonight, they should have won this damn game. They didn't look tired with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They looked tired once they got to overtime, and it was setting in that, like, damn, we shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said it's mental. Your mind controls your body. And I think it was a mental thing of like, wow, we relaxed. You can mentally relax before you physically relax, and then you give it up. You get got. These guys are conditioned. These guys are used to playing, but like, I think they mentally took their foot off the gas, and then it's hard. Once you already think you like, I'm trying to think of an analogy or something to, put it into our terms. Once you get home and you kick your shoes off and you sit on the couch and you forgot something, you have to get back out and go. You don't even want to. I'll do it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? It's like once you already like get to a destination in your mind, once you already do something, it's hard to like rev it back up. And I feel like that's what happened to them because they made a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of stupid errors. And I think it's because mentally it was a party in there. It was a celebration in there. They were having fun in there. And that's how the Garden is too. All of those stars. I was with my wife watching, and I was pointing out all these different, what's Brody's name? I'm blanking on his name from Curb the Enthusiasm. My wife called him out, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, look, there's Joe Budden. I'm like sitting right behind CeCe Sabathia. Shout out to Pecos and Jadakiss and all these different people in the Garden. It's full of celebrities. I think I saw Brian Burns from the Giants and somebody else in there. I'm like, so that energy in there is different. When they go to Indiana to Gainesbridge Fieldhouse, there's nobody in there. Pat McAfee. It's just different. And in the Garden, you can feel everyone's emotion and you could hear it. Like, that's what I'm saying. I left and I listened to the last, let's say 5 minutes, and it was broken up with maybe 3 or 4 minutes I was in the tunnel. And by the time I got out of the tunnel and I parked here, I'm like, oh no, Carlisle called that time out. I ran upstairs and I'm like, there's no way. And as I'm in here, shout out to Danny and I don't know my boy's other name. They help keep the place clean around here. As I was running in, they were running in, and Marco was sitting in here. And we all get around the TV and we're like, no way they're about to blow this game. And they did. So they got to recover. They got to come back. And I think that they have the guys to do it. And I don't think it's going to be anybody off the bench. And I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to change his ways now. But like one thing that did happen tonight, he did change his ways as far as like there was long stretches of Brunson not being in the game and Karl Anthony Towns not being in the game. Like when you look at this box score and Brunson played 38 minutes and Karl Anthony Towns played 39 minutes, that's including overtime. And you watch the game, there were times where they didn't need them. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't need them. So it's just a strange way to lose that first game. All in all, they got. You tip your cap to the Pacers. The Pacers have done this in every round now, stolen a game late like this. And now you got to keep your guard up. You got to absolutely be ready for it the rest of the way. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan. When we come back, I will continue a little bit with what went on in Boston with the Mets and changing the lineup and them being able to score 5 runs and Tyler McGill going out there looking like Jacob deGrom himself. And then Jacob deGrom versus Ryan Yarbrough in the Bronx. And the Yankees just like, I don't know, Cody Bellinger, Judge, DJ LeMahieu, like things are just coming up roses for the Yankees that make the Yankee fan feel good about where this team is headed. And we'll sprinkle in a little bit of the baseball just to break up the basketball. But hey, Knicks fans that are on hold, stay on hold. And if you want to call with a different take or a thought or a stat or something that you caught watching the game tonight or looking online, hit me with it. I'm on till 2 a.m. KM to AM returns right after this. All right, chat. Now I can check in with you guys, and I actually want to get my other camera set up. Like I said too, I'm working. I'm hosting a live radio show. This is on Odyssey app and in people's cars, and so I got to be locked in on that. But I am going to start doing some live streams from home so I can interact more with the chat. But like we've built a little bit of a community here where like you guys are consistently, keeping conversations rolling with yourself based off of what I'm saying and whatever you guys have. Shout out to Hector, made Hector a mod last night. Hector's been in here probably 90% of the streams that I do, and he throws some money to the Jackson McPherson Diaper Fund every time. I appreciate that super chat. Trying to get my son to stop and like start potty training, stop using diapers, but it is a long process. He's only 2. He's barely 2. He turned 2 last month. Let's see here. I'm going to hit quickly. Hold on. Are we coming back here? So we have these like drops now where they're like in between ads, it'll be like talk New York sports. And I think we're coming back to air and it's just like a little drop in between things. Okay. Did the Celtics sweep? I think the Celtics. Yeah, the Celtics swept the Pacers in the conference finals last year. Yeah, I'll make you one as well. When I get to it, Amber. But that's facts. Remember, the Pacers were in the conference finals last year. The Knicks have to get through the Pacers, just like the Pacers had to get through the Knicks in the 90s. Like these guys were here in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That's something I'm going to speak on too. Can't take them lightly. Can't take them lightly at all. If the Knicks can't do it, it can't be done. They better figure it out. KM to AM on the Fan in New York. And, like I said, we got to give some credit to the Pacers. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. The way that they stole this game against the Knicks is all time, but they did steal a game from the Cavaliers, game 2, and they did steal game 5 from the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, where like you can't sleep on them, you can't underestimate them. You kind of got to know. And I feel like the Knicks knew, but maybe they got sucked into the air in the Garden and the emotions of the Garden and all of these celebrity Knick fans and all these diehard Knick fans in there too that are just dreaming of going to the finals. And I think I saw Sal's tweet, and I'm not throwing Sal in there like it's his fault, but like I think I saw Sal's tweet And he said something like, "This is amazing." No, he said, "This is effing awesome." And then I think I saw Big Mac's tweet. And he said something like, "This is really fun." Two sides of the coin. Yeah, it's fun until it's not fun. He said, "This is incredibly entertaining." He said, "Did I say this is fun? What an idiot." No, you guys aren't idiots. You guys are fans, and you're Knicks fans, and you haven't been able to watch your team in the Eastern Conference Finals for 24 years. And when you see them come out and look like the better team, you see them come out and dominate. You see them come out and have a high-scoring first half. You start to dream of like, yo, we're going to advance. We're going to the finals. This is fun. This is the type of basketball we're going to play in this round. Great. But you got to play a full 48 minutes. 888-808-1019. Like, Obi missed that dunk. And even I had that in my notes. I'm like, Dunker's delight. Been away from Brooklyn for too long. Been out there in Indiana. No way did he miss that point blank dunk like that. This is one of the best dunkers in the league, right? Nah, man. Let's take a few more calls before I get to my baseball takes. At least the Mets won. At least the Yankees won. I had a whole different show planned, assuming that the Knicks were going to win. But I think the Knicks assumed they were going to win too. Louis is in Jersey on the fan. What's up, Louis?
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Listen to me. I'm a diehard Knicks fan from 1968. It happens in basketball, and this team grew very quickly. And I think all the people can calm down because I was stressed to the max. I'm turning it over now. We're going to put it together. We're going to beat this team.
Good way to be, Louis. And you know what? I think some years of experience, it helps. And I talk about the young Knick fan, like this is their time, this is their moment, especially ones that weren't old enough to remember the 90s, early 2000. Belief is needed. Positive energy is needed. I know Positive Tommy's going to come in and bang the drum of positivity and say, what he said Knicks in 7. Hey, not for nothing. This helps with a prediction of Knicks in 7 because for the Knicks to win in 7, the Pacers would have to win 3 games, and they got the first one. So let's see. I still say Knicks in 6. I think now that the Pacers got one in the Garden, they probably, I don't know. I can't say they won't get one because the Knicks will let everybody get one in the Garden. Pistons got more than one in the Garden. The Celtics got one in the Garden. Now the Pacers got one in the Garden. There's something about the Garden, man. You guys know what I'm talking about? The air in there is different. Some in the HVAC, they pump some like different kind of air in there. It does some to your emotions. Ross is in Bergen County on the fan. Ross, what'd you see?
Hey, Keith, how you doing, man?
All right.
And I'm glad you beat me to the Bucks point because I heard you bring up the Cavs come back at first, but there was 2, and I heard you bring up the Ocho stat. I got an even better one for you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
NBA teams are now 4 for 1,641 when trailing by at least 7 points in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime since the 97-98 season. And of those 4 teams, 3 of them have happened in this playoff by the same team against 3 separate teams. And that's obviously the Pacers.
Yeah.
Just talking about comebacks. We're not talking about resiliency, bro. You want to talk about seeing the screen grabs of 75-55 in about 6 minutes just to change in the third quarter. You want to talk about how resilient we were. This team is the resilience on steroids, bro. And I'll be one of the first people. I've been calling up for 3-4 years. Doesn't matter if it's ice, turf, hardwood. It don't matter how many times have I brought up it ain't over till it's over. Keep your foot on the gas. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Cliche. How many times? But I feel like with this time, bro, and I'm not trying to, exempt them from fault because I think really where they lost the game was OT, where they specifically lost the game. Bro, you look down the stretch, and I was putting blame on OG because I'm not the biggest fan of OG, and I was kind of going back on who's out because people were going at me for copying OG during the week. Now I was kind of going back like who's laughing now when he missed the free throw. But bro, I kind of sat here and thought about it. We could play the missed free throw great game all day because you know what? There's a couple free throws there. Siakam missed a couple clutch free throws that we could play the same game that way as well, where it's not a 1-point loss if they hit a couple free throws. It's 5, maybe they won. We could play that game the whole night. Well, I just can't fault them when you got Aaron Eastman in specific, hitting them from the logo, hitting them in stride from the wing, hitting fadeaways from the corner. I mean, the guy's 8 for 9. How are you supposed to stop them? And then Halliburton, the teardrop, forgetting. I mean, that hung, in the air longer than the Kawhi shot. And that, we kind of saw. It's unreal how you talk about how, kind of all these years later, we see the visions of obviously Reggie Miller at full circle with the choke, which, by the way, we had a chance to kind of reverse the mush. Leave it to us. I'd say this is the spot where you could say leave it to the Knicks, where you had a chance where they taunted don't celebrate too early, where if he had his foot on that line and he did the taunt, we wound up winning, he would have never heard the end of it. So now here we are still in a spot where we never made you the end of it. And, bro, I'll tell you this. I kind of lost my train of thought, but regardless, man, I mean, I got it. Yeah, you look at Aaron Eastman is going to fall in line with Malik Beasley and Derek White. It's never with this team where you can look back and say they lost the series because of Cade Cunningham, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton. No, it's always these obscure guys. And Aaron Eastman almost feels like Beasley and D. White combined, like 10 times worse, bro. He's money, and he was inefficient the last series. He led the series of threes. But like I just said before, when he's hitting him, he's not even set on the shot and he's thinking it. I mean, what are you supposed to do at that point? I think they've lost not only the game, and honestly, you're asking me, bro, to take it with a grain of salt. I'm one of the more negative people that call you. I think they lost the series right here and now too, and I think they lost it especially when they're talking about on the broadcast how you can take advantage when you're inbounding on a lead. Sometimes you get a little frisky, screw up an inbound. They don't have a guy in the face of the inbounder, bro. That's where I said they're starstruck, and they can't even believe what happened either. Because, look, they know all too well screwed up an inbound. They're lucky they didn't get called on the backcourt against Detroit. They should know all too well how you can screw up an inbound down the stretch with a lead. They should know all too well, and they let them inbound that ball with ease and just take it to the rim. I said, bro, they don't even know what happened either. And that's where I think they lost the series tonight, too. So, you know what? You talk about we don't give the Pacers enough respect. Bro, I think I don't know how they're not right up there in talks with OKC with the depth. And not only do they think they have as much depth, I think the fact they have more like experience and more skill. When you line them up with the Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Jones of the world compared to DJ McConnell.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the call, Ross. Yeah, they're going to get talked up. Rick Carlisle, last year talking about them being small market. I came out and said it's not the ideal matchup for the NBA, for ticket sales, for viewers, but, I mean, the real finals matchup, roster-wise, style-wise, play-wise, is OKC versus Indiana because they're both deep and they've got young guys that can shoot. They can play a bunch of different ways. But this, being the comeback kids and never say die, Caitlin Clark tweeted out, the Pacers are the greatest comeback team I've ever seen. And now everybody's coming out with all of these different numbers. Like you heard Ross hit you with, like I hit you with the 994-1. And the fact that, the Pacers have done this, like Indiana Pacers Twitter put out since 1996-97, teams that have trailed by 7+ in the final 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs are 4-1. Or 4 wins and 1,702 losses. And out of those 4 wins, this Pacers team has 3 of them. That is insane. The math is not mathing. It doesn't make any sense. But now the Knicks know that. Let's see how First Take talks about them. And I know how WFAN is going to talk about them. But I think a lot of people are going to start jumping on this Pacers bandwagon now. I think a lot of people are going to start hyping them up now. When they were outplayed for most of the game, the Knicks should have won the game. But they let them off the hook. They are who you thought they were, and you let them off the hook. Anthony out on Staten Island. You're on the Fan next. Go for it, Ant.
What's up, brother? Thank you for taking the call.
Yep.
I just left the Garden, man, and I've watched a lot of games from that Garden, and that was probably one of the worst I've ever seen as a diehard Knicks fan. They had that game 98% of that game. They had that game won. I don't want to really harp on it. A couple of guys made the same point, but up by 14, okay, Brunson's out of the game. Okay, Brunson comes in, and listen, I will never, ever, ever badmouth Jalen Brunson. He's one of the best players in Knicks to ever wear a Knicks uniform. But comes in, right, and takes over the game when the game didn't need to be taken over. Had 7 turnovers out of the 14 that the Knicks had. He was forcing the ball into bad situations. Listen, the guy's the greatest, one of the greatest players to ever wear the Knicks uniform. So you can't really.
I joke
on
about
that.
the corn farmers, but like
They went 65%
it's just what you call them out there.
from the free
I'm
throw
sure they
line.
get money.
65%. And I think the biggest thing, listen, as heartbreaking of a loss as that was, because, and the reason why it's such a heartbreaking loss, because they, like you said, they had the game won, but they took the foot off the gas. They got complacent. They put in how I saw it from my seats. They put the game into cruise control. They were like, "Oh, we got this. We're up 14." They've had bad perimeter 3-point defense the entire season, Keith. Okay.
Yeah.
That guy, Neesmith, will never make 8 out of 9 3-point shots ever again probably in his career. We took a bad L tonight. Probably one of the worst L's they've taken all season.
Ever in franchise history, yeah.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is now this game, you say put it behind you and have a short memory. This game game 1 is not over until game 2 starts. And that was one of the worst losses I've ever seen.
I mean, game 1 is not over until they win game 2. And that's why I said, like, this is going to linger. Let's hear how they talk about it on TV. I know how we're going to talk about it on the radio. Like, there are Knicks fans all through this radio station that host these shows. They're going to be devastated. They're going to be mad. They're going to be frustrated. I hope they're measured as far as knowing that it's game 1. And I think that's the saving grace. The series isn't lost. Now, if this was a game 4 or 5, for the Pacers to go up with a lead or like going up 1 game, it's not the end of the world. Now, if they went up, if this was the game to put them up 3 and now they only had 1 win, then you're really kicking yourself about that. But yeah, again, the air in the garden, whatever air they pump in the garden, that's the same air that when Halliburton shot that shot, it went straight up. That air in the garden allowed that ball to go whoop, right back down. Ross said it hung up there longer than Kawhi Leonard shot. And that was a side shot. Halliburton shot that straight on. It's something about the Garden and all those celebrities and the party that goes on there. I felt like the Knicks, they joined the party too soon. They thought it was over. They got cocky a little bit, and they got. And the Knicks, they are not in a position to get cocky. The Knicks have too much riding on this. Too many people's thoughts and hopes and dreams and emotion. This is a big-ass city that all rocks with the Knicks and is all depending on the Knicks to beat the Pacers. They're supposed to beat the Pacers. They're the higher seed, revenge from last year. And for the most part in this game, with Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, they were supposed to win this game, right? TJ McConnell at some point was getting busy a little bit. He was getting too many easy layups for a little bit, but it didn't kill you. Like, their bench didn't kill you. But Halliburton having 31 and then Neesmith having 30 and 20 of them in the fourth quarter is crazy. And then like Miles Turner, one of their other stars, only had 14 and they didn't need him. They kept him off the floor late in the game. They were preying on the Knicks' mistakes. They were wide awake and the Knicks were asleep at the wheel. 888-808-1019. Chris is in the car. Chris, how you feeling?
Good, Keith. How are you? Thank you for taking my call. Sent you a message a couple of weeks ago on one of your live streams, and you read it on there. I really, truly appreciate that. I'd like to say that the Knicks happen to be the NBA's New York Mets. They find a way to spectacularly win games, and then when they lose them, it's in spectacular fashion as well. It's amazing to me that it's a heartbreak. I think the game turned with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter when they were up like 14, 15 points. You see the energy. They were going up and down the floor, Indiana was. I think at that point, coach should have called the timeout and just slowed the game down a little bit, because you could see the Knicks were kind of laboring. They couldn't hit a shot, and they were up and down the court, and they couldn't miss a three. It's
unbelievable. I've never seen a game in a playoff like this, except for the one that they had in the previous series, Indiana. It's incredible how these guys are resilient. Unbelievable to me. But that being said, let's hope for the best in game 2. And Keith, I love you, man. I've been listening to you since the first night you were on. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. That's what I have to say, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call, Chris. 888-808-1019. Just got to have a short memory. Sucks. I'm just reading people's tweets. I got people in the live chat. Some people texting me. It's hard to get over. It is hard to get over, and you literally can't get over it until you win the next game. And the next game isn't today; it's Friday. And I'm very interested to see how the Knicks respond. I think if you go off of their recent history in the playoffs, they need to get checked a little bit. They need to come back down to reality. Like if they got cocky here, they just got humbled really fast, and now they will have their guard up. And it's funny because I said this in my open. I'm like, man, the way that they stole those games from Boston weren't even like this. It was a different type of thing. Like Boston being up 20, they were up 20 in the third quarter. And then like the Knicks in the fourth quarter, just with defense and shot making kind of grinded them out. And then, defense at the end of the game, like the Pacers just like their name fits. They picked up the pace and they started shooting and draining shots. And when you take your foot off the gas, they are standing on the gas. They are not letting the game go away. They are not just like, I thought they were folding. I am as shocked as anyone because I'm home. I'm listening to Mets Radio 880. I'm watching Big Inning so that I could see the Mets and the Yankees on the same screen. And then I put Big Inning on my MacBook when the Knicks game starts at 8. And for the most part, I'm watching the Knicks game and I'm not thinking for a second they're losing this game. And then when the Yankees win and the Mets game was over, because they started at 6:45. And then once they scored those 3 runs in the 7th inning and then they added an insurance run, I'm like, they're not going to lose this game. And then the Yankees walk it off. I'm sitting in my apartment thinking, okay, I have about an hour and it takes 20 minutes for me to ride to WFAN. I got to be out of here by like 10:30 latest. And I think right before 10:30 was when those back-to-back fouls happened. They were up 12 minutes to go. And I'm just like, oh, the Pacers are giving them the game. They're not going to. The shock that when I got out of the tunnel and I heard Monica McNutt talking about 5, they're within 5, they're within 3. And then that challenge and the play gets overturned. And then by the time I got up here, there was a point where the Knicks almost turned the ball over in regulation. And we're all up here screaming. And then I come back, we see the Halliburton. I'm like, oh, I actually was watching. I was in the kitchen watching Halliburton hit that shot on my phone. And then I run back in here with everyone like, it's OT. And then in OT, I literally thought that the Pacers celebration would hurt them in overtime. They already thought they won, right? So once you think you won, like, nah, they had it. They made the plays they needed to make, more so than the Knicks. The Knicks completely unraveled. This is embarrassing. This is an all-time loss in sports. It's the Eastern Conference Finals now. This is to go to the finals now. You can't let games like that slip. So what I think is that they will go to sleep tonight. They're probably already asleep, or maybe not. They're probably not sleeping. They're probably staring at the ceiling, or maybe they're watching the highlights or on their phone scrolling. Like, damn, how do we let that? But I think that they have the, mental toughness, intestinal fortitude. I don't know. Like I think they got the right attitude about them where they won't get got like that again, and they will have to outright win 4 games before the Pacers win 3. 888-808-1019. It's about to be 1 o'clock. So when we come back in the 1 o'clock hour, I'll hit you with a couple things with the Red Sox and the Rangers taking L's and the Mets not getting swept and the Yankees taking the series. At least our baseball teams won, but it's like it's regular season. It's like it doesn't hold any weight to being in the Eastern Conference Finals And I was sure we were gonna have a different kind of show tonight. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Call me up. We'll be right back. First walk-off homer since 2022. Yeah, it's been a minute. It has been a minute. But that's good. Good vibes. Good vibes. What's up, man? Yeah, and his first career walk-off. The kid he's been good, man. For a 22-year-old, he's been really solid. And I think he's got a lot of potential. And I'm glad that they find ways to keep him in and keep him involved. They could easily go Belly and left, Trent Grisham in center, Judge, but you know, a lot of us were ready to quit on him for his defense. A lot of us are ready to, you know, say, all right, if he can't play left field, put him in center field or put him on the bench. And no, he was always a top prospect. So like, got to give him, you know, time to grow and become and do things. This guy needs me at 4:30. So busy, man. I'm always putting stuff in my calendar. It never ends. I called into Atlanta radio tonight and I completely forgot that I agreed. So I was on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta at 8:20. And when they called me, I am literally sitting on my floor in my living room, Knicks game on the big screen, Mets Yankees on my MacBook, and like writing notes in my phone. I'm like, I see an Atlanta area code. I'm like, oh, I forgot I was gonna even do that interview. I still did it. I'm like, I got too much going on. And then I'm in the living room, and my son, his room it shares a wall with the living room. So like part of the reason why I was on the floor because I was on the couch, but the couch is like on the wall against his. I'm like, I don't want to wake this guy up. So I'm like talking, like I'm like right under the TV. I gotta like mute the TV and talk under the TV and like be on the radio. And they like wanted to talk about Justin Fields and the Jets. Because Justin Fields is from Georgia and the Jets play the Falcons this year. And we talked about the Knicks. We talked about the Mets and the Braves. Of course, all the time. Apply. Yeah, no one expected Neesmith to. No one saw that coming. I bet he don't do it again either. Oh yeah, I already read that. I just make jokes like that. I don't know. I've never been to Indiana. When I call them corn farmers, I have no idea what Indiana looks like. Parks and Rec. Weren't they in Indiana in Parks and Rec? Then in Parks and Rec they had like Detlef Schrempf and like Roy Hibbert and like Indiana Pacers, different Indiana Pacers on that show. I think Andrew Luck was on that show. So yeah, from the Mets game, Mendoza sticks with Beatty against Garrett Crochet, right? Lefty on lefty. Brett Beatty comes up big.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Well, just our heartbreak at the Garden. Final seconds of a brutal 138-135 overtime loss to the Pacers as the Knicks coughed up a 14-point lead with under 3 minutes remaining. Kevin Harlan to call TNT. Tyrese Halliburton sent it to the OT with a long two. He had 31 points, 11 assists. Aaron Nesmith, 20 of his 30 in the fourth quarter, nailed 6 threes in the period, 8 of 9 overall. Jalen Brunson, 43, but 7 of the team's 15 turnovers. Karl-Anthony Towns, 35 points, 12 rebounds, but it's the Pacers that steal game 1 in home court in series. Mets shook up the lineup. Juan Soto dropped to 3. For one night, at least it worked. They bounced the Red Sox 5-1. Brett Beatty drove in 3. Francisco Lindor went deep. Soto was 0 for 3 Ks, a walk, and a sac fly as the Mets snapped a 3-game skid. And the Yankees up in the Rangers 4-3, courtesy of a Jason Dominguez walk-off shot. Cody Bellinger pushed his hit streak to 15, including a long ball. Aaron Judge, an RBI single in the 8th that tied it. Bombers won 10-13. 50 degrees rating at Central Park, and it's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Yeah. All right, here comes my last 50 minutes on the fan tonight. Obviously, we've been talking about losing right now. What I'm going to do is piggyback off of Marco's update and talk about some winning. And then we'll get back to your calls at 888-808-1019. I know you guys got to get it out, and we will. We'll talk through it. And I think we've said everything we could say, but there's going to be, this Knicks therapy session on the fan for 48 hours, honestly. The next 2 days, really, not 48 hours, but maybe some 40, something like that. So, with the Yankee game, I thought these guys were going to be victim to the weather because they, basically can't play when it rains. And I thought it was going to rain today. It didn't rain. Multiple people I saw giving up tickets. People offered me tickets. Shout out to my boy Dalton. He got to go to Legends for the first time tonight because people gave up the tickets thinking it was going to rain. Also, with DeGrom on the mound, maybe some Met fans went to see DeGrom. Maybe some Yankee fans were thinking DeGrom was going to shove. I'm not going to that one. But you know what? The Yankees end up taking the series, and they only have 5 hits. And I think I said earlier, DeGrom retired 15 in a row, and he's Jacob DeGrom still, right? He goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks. And the earned runs come off of early in the game, DJ LeMahieu, a ground out after, Volpe triples. DJ LeMahieu grounds out to drive in Anthony Volpe, and that 1 run would hang there. It felt like the game was 1-0 for a while, and then in the 5th inning, Jake Whataburger homers, and then he homers again, and then Sam Haggerty homers, and it's like, okay, well, now we're down, and, I don't know how this is going to go, but then the Yankees are able to tack on 1 run. Cody Bellinger is on one, 15-game hit streak, hits another bomb off DeGrom, and the Yankees have life, and they rally, and they get guys on, and Judge comes in, and Judge is able to drive in a run to tie the game, and then in the 9th inning, embrace the Martian. Jason Dominguez, gotta let him rock, gotta let that young man play. Jason Dominguez with his first walk-off homer, a no-doubter. And the Yankees win 4-3, and people get to celebrate and sing Frank Sinatra and leave there. Another 40,000 plus. Tuesday was 40,000 plus. Wednesday, in a potential, rain delay, 40,359. Now, today, the day game, that might possibly get rained out, but so what? We'll see what happens. They got all day to push it, They've already taken the series. We'll see what happens. Pitching-wise, Ryan Yarbrough, solid. Another one of those Cashman finds. He started off as Michael Tonkin this year, a guy that I wanted nothing to do with, a guy that started being a long relief guy. Well, Michael Tonkin ended up getting chopped. He got cut. He got sent away. Ryan Yarbrough's a starter now. Goes 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 8 Ks. What? What about that Yankees pitching lab? What have they done with Will Warren and Ryan Yarbrough? And then Jonathan Loaisiga, not his best showing. I think Loaisiga hit a guy But either way, I'm just trying to move this along quickly. Tim Hill, Ian Hamilton, and then late in that game, you try to get Enyel De Los Santos to finish this thing off, and you got to leave it to Weaver again. Luke Weaver, who only threw 2 pitches the night before, he's ready. Luke Weaver comes out and gets it done for the Yankees. So the Yankees win. The Yankees win. They are rolling in first place. They are rolling before they head out west. And you got to be happy if you're a Yankees fan with what you're seeing from this team. They're never out of any game, and they're finding ways to win and different ways to win. It's not just Judge. It's it could be anybody, and it's Judge, it's Belly, and the pitching has really turned a corner from being patchwork, something you're worried about, to now being more solid than you realize. And when you look at the standings, you realize the Yankees are up 5 games, and they're 5 games up over the Toronto Blue Jays because the Mets helped us out tonight, and they beat the Boston Red Sox. And the Mets had to get that game because they couldn't get swept, just for morale, just for a happy flight, just for we got to win. We can't let Yankee fans say that Yankee Stadium broke us. We can't let baseball fans say the Yankees broke Juan Soto. But not for nothing, Juan Soto goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts to start this game. There was a terrible video that I saw on Talking Baseball. Garrett Crochet throws 3 pitches in the zone, and it was like Juan Soto wasn't playing. It was like the controller died. He just didn't take the bat off his shoulder. It was non-competitive. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with Juan Soto? And I'm not saying that as a troll. I'm saying that as somebody that watched this guy have the most competitive at-bats ever. He competes on every single pitch, or he used to. It was him versus the pitcher and the ball and the ump and the catcher. And I'm like, I just never seen him stare at pitches and not have a swagger about him. But whatever. They do change the lineup. And I know Evan talked about it. I talked about it. Everybody talked about it. You got to change the lineup. You got to change the lineup. I was not expecting them to put Marte at that 2 spot. They end up pinch hitting Nimmo for him later. That's another thing. They took Nimmo out. We were talking about Nimmo being the cleanup guy. I don't know about that. Alonso ends up going back to the cleanup spot. He has a knock. But I think the 2 guys that you're looking at tonight, well, really, it's the bottom of the order. Something went right with the bottom of the order. Luis Torrens, he's got to get the nod more days than Alvarez, at least while you're trying to figure it out. Luis Torrens, he came up big early in this game. And then you had 2 hits from Acuna, a hit from Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor's another one. He's been hitting in this last little bit of a rough stretch for the Mets. But Brett Beatty, steady Mendy, sticks with Brett Beatty. Lefty on lefty. Bats him 9th against Garrett Crochet, who throws 100 miles an hour. And he goes out there, gives you 2 hits, drives in 3 runs, and he was fired up about it, man. Good for Brett Beatty. Stay down till you come up, kid. They were ready to write you off. You weren't beating the quadruple A allegations. They were trying to send you out of here, and now you're shining. Props to Tyler McGill. How about Huáscar Brazoban? Solid. 2 1/3, 4 strikeouts. Reed Garrett, Edwin Diaz, done. All she wrote. The Mets win 5-1. And like I said earlier, they hadn't scored more than 5 runs in 10 days. It was May 11th since the Cubs series. So that was a bad little stretch. And you hope that it's behind them and they come back home to their own beds and their significant others and their kids and some home cooking. And the Met fan is there to greet them against the Dodgers. And it's Memorial Day weekend. It's a holiday weekend, and they can get back rolling and hitting home runs and doing what they got to do to keep themselves in the hunt for first place and having one of the best records in baseball. 888-808-1019. You guys don't care to talk too much about that. You want to talk about the Knicks, but we'll do a little bit of both. We'll get to it. Some of the calls do say Knicks and enter New York baseball team. Out in Queens, let's go to Andrew next. Thanks for holding, Drew. You're on.
Hey, how you guys? Spoke to you once before. You're a nice addition to the show. I always appreciate you.
Thank you.
You can't. I'm watching sports a long time, a little older, but I gotta say, this whole thing, when you're late in the game, I don't care what the sport is, you rest your starting player. I listened to you speak tonight regarding how they were distracted, and I agree with that. Point granted, but I also hear people on the fan speaking about you got to have your legs, that you could play longer. You got your legs under you because you're conditioned. I'll give you that. To a point. And I still think they could win it all, even though tonight was, I mean, like you said, probably one of the worst losses in franchise history. But at the same time, I'm having a hard time believing that all of these minutes and all of these games throughout the year, it has to affect the mental, because I'm asking myself towards the end, how much did all of this wear on them mentally, where you know you're going to be in there and it's on you. You know, they put themselves in a position where they don't have a lot of depth. You know, I mean, so you got to go with what you got, but just wanted to point that out. Thank you. Have a good night. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for the call, Andrew. Yeah, and you know, I guarantee you this. Every show you hear on WFAN, they're going to talk about the lack of depth. They're going to talk about the bench and playing guys on the bench and resting your play. Like, that's not the formula. That's not what Tom Thibodeau does. That's not his MO. He trusts his starters. Maybe next year, Leon Rose will get a couple other guys that he can trust. They got because the starters didn't do what they were supposed to do. They did not close the game out. They left the back door open. When the day is done and you go to sleep, you're supposed to close the back door and lock it and double check. Put the latch on. Make sure nobody's coming in that back door to steal game one from you. Out west, Mark in California. Mark, I know you were feeling some type of way tonight.
Listen, so I was at the game tonight.
Oh, so you're in New York. You're visiting for the Eastern Conference Finals, and well, hopefully you didn't pay too much for that one, because that's a tough one to pay all that money for that.
I'm right across from the guard, me and my wife. We're going to game 2 on Friday as well. So I'm going to go to game 2, and then I'm going to go to 5 and 7, if there is a 7. But, yeah, man, I mean, listen, I'm from Cali, bro, but listen, man, I was at all 5 World Series games last year. I went to 9 playoff games when the Rangers made the finals, and I was calling you up when the Rangers were how long it's been. I was at both Super Bowls for the Giants. I went to the 328 Daniel Jones when they beat Minnesota, and then they got stomped by Philly. I was at that game too. I traveled, man. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not sitting courtside, but like what? The hotel's free, because me and my wife have points. The airline is free because we have miles. So,
all right, quit flexing on us, man. The rest of us can barely take the train.
I mean, listen, bro. You know what I mean? I'm blessed to have a nice job. I'm closing in on July. I'm 20 years with my job.
That's amazing. Congrats. It's a long time. This is actually the longest job I've ever held.
and this is the longest job I've ever held too. But what bugs me, and speaking of Will Warren, bro, you nailed it on the head, bro. Because listen, I'm not even talking Yanks, but his strike walkout rate is 10 in the American League. His strike FIP is 8. His ERA is not very good, but all of his metrics are pointing to, are we seeing something here, bro? Is this guy like, if he was giving up runs and he was walking too many guys, and you're like, what the heck you saw with Clark Schmidt, and all of a sudden you got this guy, and everyone's talking about the Yankees pitcher being so bad, but yo, how do you think of me, bro? It's not bad, right? It's really not bad. So, could you imagine if we went out and got Steam, or when Cole comes back? I mean, it's Free's the number 1. You know what I mean? So, and listen, if you got to give up Hill for Steam, make that trade right now. Make it right now.
Mark, where are we going with this? Thanks for the call, bro. Well, I thought you were going to talk about the Knicks. Now we're talking about trading Luis Hill for Paul Skeens. What? And I mean, Will Warren. I don't know if I even mentioned Will Warren. I think I did mention Will Warren when I was talking about Ryan Yarbrough and I was talking about the Yankees pitching lab. We've given a ton of credit to the Mets and their pitching lab. How about Matt Blake and what he's done with these guys? It was just early, you know? The Yankees knew what they were doing. That's why they DFA'd Carlos Carrasco. They're like, no, this kid's going to be fine. And we're going to move Ryan Yarbrough from the bullpen to being a starter. And we know exactly how long it's going to take Luis Hill from his setback to come back. We'll be good. We'll be good. Max Fried is Max Fried. Carlos Rodon gets paid a lot of money too. Clark Schmidt, he's going to be fine. And Will Warren's going to take a step forward because he's got his sinker sweeper rolling like he's going to strike guys out. So Moose is in Jamaica on the fan. Go for it, Moose.
Yeah, Keith, what to do?
You're, holding it down.
I'll tell you. Quick point about the Yankees, and then I'll tell you one thing about the Knicks that's gonna really set the stage. But so the Yankees. How about Cody Bellinger with a 15-game hitting streak, also recapturing some of his power from his MVP years? Does this mean they have to pitch the Judge? About the Knicks. I called my dad right when the Knicks went up 14 or something like that. He's like, I turned it off. He's, a real Knicks fan from back in the day. And he was like, oh, I turned it off. They're going to win. They can't lose. I'm like, Dad, it's the NBA. It's a three-point shot. And I didn't put no money on this series because, listen, I know the Pacers. They go hard, bro. So many backups that play in tight are in there in blowouts. So they always play hard, no matter what. So, and that's the thing, like, it's the quality over quantity thing where the 7 to 8 guys of the Knicks versus the 10 and 11 of the Pacers that aren't as good as the Knicks 7 or 8. And it's like, I don't know if the Knicks are going to win in 4, 5, or 6, or the Pacers squeak it out in 7. That's why I didn't put no money on it, Keith.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good series. Thanks for the call, Moose, because the first game was the best game of any of the playoff games we've seen so far in the NBA. Everybody's talking about it, and they're going to talk about it all day. It's going to be all over sports talk, radio, and television, and social media, and podcasts. Now, back to what you said about Belly, and I'll tie that into what I said about the Yankees rotation. It was just early. It was April. Since May, if you look at the Yankees from Sacramento, from San Diego, so like they have put it together in this month of May. It's been a great run through May. And a guy like Cody Bellinger, I literally have a tweet. You've got to probably scroll back 2 days to my tweets now. But I said, with Cody Bellinger, I'm giving him grace. I'm giving him some time. He is a Pelotero. It's in his blood. And this is a guy that was balling in spring training. Then he had the back issue. He had the food poisoning. Like, that type of stuff can throw you off. But I said, let it warm up and let's judge him. And now, man, like him with Judge, like 15-game hitting streak, power surge. And I also wasn't going to quit on Belly or get too worried about Belly because he's our one guy that you can put in any position in the outfield and not worry about, and he can play first base. He's so valuable, and he's wanted to be a Yankee for years, and now he's starting to look the part. Like, he's looking like a Yankee with that swing and the way he's been playing. Great. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully it continues. EJ is in Prospect, Connecticut on the fan. What you got for us, EJ?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, I was unfortunately not able to watch the Nets game tonight, but I saw they actually finally won a game. And I know you were talking about yesterday about moving around the lineup. What are your thoughts on then moving up Marte up to the second hole?
That was a surprise for me. I thought it might have been Viento. The whole thing. So, you know what? I think how I really positioned it was like they've given Juan Soto so much, and maybe they want the thing that they could take from Juan Soto is that he gets to bat second. But I didn't expect Marte to be there. I also didn't expect Marte to be in left field because he'd been DHing. But I had suggested maybe putting Vientos there and dropping Alonso down to the cleanup spot because he had batted cleanup in the past. I don't know. It worked. You give Mendy props for doing it. It worked out tonight. I mean, it didn't necessarily work out for Soto. He did have the sac fly late after the 3 strikeouts. Lindor is still Lindor. And you know what I thought about? Didn't Marte used to bat in front of Lindor? Like, yeah, they used to have conversations. So I don't know. Maybe it was something with putting those two together.
1,000% sure, honestly. I don't really remember. I'm not. Yeah. And then my other thing is, I've just probably been asked like a million times, but what is actually up with like Juan Soto? Like, I know we all know he's a better baseball player than this, but he's been going through his slump since the start of the season. And I know it's a really long contract, but it's just a little bit odd. He's not doing the shuffle.
If I say it, people are gonna think I'm trolling, and they're gonna think that I'm like needling the Mets fan, but I'm not. I just said it before. I watched his at bats tonight, and I'm like, I don't know what is wrong with this guy because his calling card was the most competitive at bats. Like, this guy is competing If there was an automatic ball and strike zone, he would be competing against that. This guy is competing against the pitcher, the catcher, and the umpire every single pitch. And that at bat that he had, where he didn't even swing, I'm like, I don't know what has happened to this guy, because there were pitches that, like, he did not. In John Morosi put out, and I kind of joked about it because people want to say that it's just the Yankee fan that is on Juan Soto like this. No, it's everybody in baseball that has ever watched him is like, this is peculiar. Something is wrong.
Well, that is a lot,
But John Morosi's not a Yankee fan. He's a reporter, and he was at Fenway covering the game. And he's the one that put out the tweet about Juan Soto has seen, he says, Juan Soto has seen 7 pitches tonight, 6 of them strikes. He's yet to swing. It is odd to us that have watched Juan Soto be the most competitive batter in that box to just be going through the motions right now.
He reminds me a lot of Joey Votto in the sense where Joey Votto's my favorite player of all time. And Joey Votto would always put up a competitive at that no matter what. And at least when he was on the Yankees and on the Padres and on the Nationals, he would always, no matter what, like put up a competitive at bat. And right now, unfortunately, I don't know why. I don't know if there's some outside circumstances we don't know about, but we're just not seeing that. And then my final question is, do you think that the Mets are a playoff team?
I do. I know the National League is tough. I think they could win the division. It's early. Thanks for the. All right, go for it. You had another point?
The Braves, I'm a little bit worried. Spencer Strider's back. Chris Sale is still Chris Sale.
Acuna's on his way. Yep.
I'm a little worried about the Braves. And then the Phillies are finally playing good. I don't know. This is tough. The Nationals and Marlins, they just kind of suck. I'm not going to lie. Good.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Thanks for the call, EJ. I don't know. I think that the Mets, they're going to get healthier. They're going to get guys back. They're also going to get pitching. Like Montas Minaya will be back. Blackburn will be back. At some point, Winker will be back. And then also we will approach the trade deadline where you have David Stearns that's going to figure out exactly who and what you need. And here's another secret for you. Juan Soto is still Juan Soto. It's in there somewhere. They got to coach it out of him, whether it's a mental health coach, whether it's Mendoza, whether it's moving him lower in the lineup, whether it's giving him days off. Like they're trying. They gave him 2 days off last week. They dropped him in the lineup now. Like I don't know what it is or what it's going to take. Maybe he's got to go on this road trip, right? When they go out to LA for 4 games in early June and then Colorado. Maybe he gets right in Colorado. That's a good place to hit. I remember seeing him in the home run derby out in Colorado. But like, why I think that they have a chance to be a postseason team and potentially win the division is because you have Lindor, you have Alonso, you have Juan Soto, and there's going to come a time where they're all balling. They're all clicking. And if your pitching is holding up with this Jeremy Hefner pitching lab and the bullpen is this bullpen, like they have all the pieces to be good. And you also don't have to worry about facing the Yankees for, weeks until July 4th weekend. So you don't have to go through the headache of the Subway Series and what that's going to be. I was talking to somebody. Who's I talking to today? Somebody just DMing me. Someone I don't even know. And they were talking about taking over Citi Field. I'm like, bro, I'm not on that. I'm not on. I'm off this. Like, I'm off the Subway Series and the back and forth. Like, oh, we should take Jared. Shout out to Jared, who was even. I'm like, that the Subway Series in Citi Field is July 4th weekend. Like, I'm gonna be with my wife, my son, my mom, my family members, and I'm not driving out to Queens to boo Juan Soto. Like, I got that was just one night for me. That first Friday night, that was everything for me. That was so much fun. Like, that was the night that I need. I don't need to go to Citi Field on Friday, July 4th, or Saturday, July 5th, or the 6th. Those are all day games. Actually, I'm completely out. I won't go to one. But maybe you will. Go boo Juan Soto and take over Citi Field, but I'm off that. 888-808-1019. Can we get back to the Knicks? Let's get back to the Knicks. There's the little bit of baseball conversation for the baseball fan that's listening. That was like, hey, well, I watched the Yankee game. I watched the Met game. Do we have any comments on that? Yeah, good that they won. But again, they don't hold any weight compared to what happened in Madison Square Garden. And you're going to see that when you turn on the TV, when you get the paper, when you listen to the radio. It is all going to be about how did the Knicks go from this party that was happening in the Garden where Karl Anthony Towns was hooping and Brunson was hooping and Mikal Bridges did his thing. And like I said, the defense of the Knicks was just like, as efficient as the Pacers started the game, the defense of the Knicks started to stifle them, started to jam them up, started to give them some issues. And the game was won. The game looked like it was in hand. It looked like there was no way that the Knicks were going to give them the game back the way that the Pacers were giving it away. And then here comes Aaron Nesmith, Tyrese Halliburton, a shot that was a miss until the air in the Garden dropped it right back in the net. A choke sign was given. It got reviewed. His toe was on the line. It was only a tie. Overtime, and then the Pacers outwilled them, out-hustled them, out-conditioned, outplayed them in overtime. Joe is in the Bronx on the Fan before we break again. You got it, Joe.
What's going on, Keith?
Just trying to talk sports.
Man, the worst choke since maybe the 15th or series.
Yeah, either that or, I that's exactly what I compared it to. I'm like, the feeling of the party, right? Yankee Stadium was a party for 4 innings and then crash and burn. For almost 4 quarters, Madison Square Garden was a party and then a complete crash and burn.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just the Pacers, they do some sort of spell on the ball pregame, and they took every shot that they put up goes in. That just doesn't happen to any other team. Like, they made 8 threes, and that ball, that Halliburton shot just goes in after it bounced off the top of the backcourt. That stuff just doesn't happen to any other team.
There's like that's what I said, there's weird energy, air, some type of strange mojo. Thanks for the call, Joe. And it's like, man, if any team can't relax, it's the Knicks. You don't get these opportunities. You're not here often. There has to be urgency the whole way, the whole time. And I think this is the one to do it. I think losing a game like that, and you know what I heard Sal say, at least I didn't hear it was like a clip. It was like, he said something along the lines like, Jalen Brunson won't allow them to lose this series. Jalen Brunson shouldn't allow them to lose this game, and he was part of them losing this game. And so now they got to lock in. Now they got to focus up. Now they got to dial in, and now they got to realize that, hey, you have to beat them for 48 minutes. So much talk about the Knicks playing a full 48 minutes, and they decided to play about 45 and then lose the game. 888-808-1019, my last 24 minutes coming up. And then I'm going to pass it to Big Mac. And I'm sure Big Mac took a bunch of notes too. I'm sure Big Mac had a hole open too. And then he had way more time. I was talking to my bosses. They were listening to the show. I'm like, this was not what I was planning on doing. I threw those notes away. I had a few hours planned of how I was going to celebrate this first win and talk about how, the Knicks might have gotten to a 3rd round of the playoffs. That's easier than the 1st and 2nd round. Slow your roll. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. Have you ever been to Indiana? Yes. There is let's see, Horseshoe Casino, Indiana. There is a place in Indiana called the Horseshoe Casino. I believe. I'm looking it up to see if I'm correct. So I can't find a picture of it. When I used to go to Chicago, I have friends that I met in the MLB fan cave. One is a Cubs fan, one is a White Sox fan. So I used to go to Chicago when I was a little bit younger, before I was married, before I had a kid, and just go party and bullshit. basically. Go to Chicago, go to Wrigley, go to Wrigleyville, go to the Cubby Bear, go to the Dugout, go to freaking I can't remember some of the bars in Wrigleyville. I used to just go there and drink and go watch games. And then there were no games on. I think I went there in the winter, and being a fiend, me and my boy Mike, shout out to Mike, was like, yo, you want to go to the casino? And I think we had to ride like an hour and a half out to Indiana to the nearest casino. And that's the only time I went to Indiana. So I make jokes about them being corn farmers. I don't know anything else about them. I make jokes about Parks and Rec. I think that's in Indiana. I don't know anything else about them. Small market. Crazy Jorge 12. What's up? Nick should have won. Yep. Bourbon Legend. Got you. Hit me up on X. Garrett Cole's pitching knowledge so valuable. Yeah, definitely helps those guys. That's having another pitching coach next to Matt Blake. NJ Transit Train. That's a great point. Didn't want to go to extras with those guys either. Is that Jerry Recco? Where? On the phone? Keith, can you follow me back on X? Let me see. Whenever someone asks me that, this is my tweet that I have for that. Let's see if I can pull it up. Because like the thing about that is, like, I could follow you back, but I don't even know you. I don't even know who I'm following back. I can't see your face, your name. I don't know. So let me see. I was like, I had a classic tweet. Like, I'll never ask you. Let's see. Now the Twitter function sucks. You can't search Twitter correctly. Because I want to show you that tweet, because that used to be my response. Obviously, people have been asking me to follow him back forever, and I'm just like, and I can't find it now. But it was something along the lines of like, you know, I would never ask you to I would never publicly ask you to follow me back, because I would never want to publicly put that kind of pressure on you. I follow people back, but not really when they ask. A lot of times when they least expect it. You know when I follow people, honestly? Like, I get hated on so much, which I'm used to. Be my guest, be my guest. I get mostly hated on by anonymous losers and clowns that would never roll up on me, never would like approach me like that, so it's fine. But the people I follow back is like, when I see people fighting for me in the tweets, in the replies, like I see people going hard for me, defending me, I'm like, follow. We on the same team. Follow you right back. We on the same side. Usually it's Nebraska that gets the corn jokes. Yeah, but I think if you look up Indiana, they're number one. I think they're number one. I think their number one thing for farming is corn. Or maybe I made that up. Oh, I'm tired, man. What a call from Ricky Ricardo. I haven't heard it. But yeah, I hit you with the wrench. I think I hit you. I hit Hector and someone else, just because, like, I know you guys got my back. I know you guys are in this live pretty much every night. And I just gave y'all the full-on privileges where, like, if somebody's tweaking or somebody's doing something, you can have them chill on YouTube. I merged this live where there are people coming in from Twitch, people coming in from Twitter as well. A lot of times we get the people that are bold on Twitter, and there's no way to moderate them. We gonna make it. We gonna make it. That's a good track to play. Good drop, Nico. Jadakiss was in the building courtside right next to the Knicks bench. And we gonna make it, right? Knicks fans got to feel like we gonna make it to the finals. Little bump in the road. Big piece of humble pie. Might win some, but you just lost one. But only one. They still got to beat you 3 times. We love to throw around the word must win. Friday is a must win. Even up the series. Can't fall down to the Pacers in your building. You got to have revenge on your mind from last year and from game 1. And I think these guys will lock in. I think you'll see a full effort. I think you'll see, them run through the tape. They didn't run through the tape today. They slowed up right before the finish line. And then the Pacers, pun intended, picked up the pace and sped right by them. Eddie is in Manhattan on the Fan. You got it, Eddie.
Hey, what's going on, pal? You made a valid point right there. A friend of mine was just talking to me about the game before you got through, and he said, you know what, time management was the key. There was no reason for them to rush up the paint and try to score as if they were behind. All they had to do was just slow the pace down, run the clock down. Free throws were a factor. OG missing that first shot. Basically, they defeated themselves. It's a terrible loss for New York, but it's just one game, like you said. We'll bounce back. I think we have the momentum going into this series. 25 years it's been, since we made it this far, and we've played hard against Boston.
We did meet
It was a very
before.
unusual series, but nobody expected the Knicks to go this far, and we have faith in them. We just took a loss, dust yourself off, get right back up, and start all over again. But this time, don't fall asleep on these guys. Pacers are a very fast-paced team, young guys, efficient scorers, and the Knicks got to just keep, like you said, keep the gas on, keep going. Don't take the gas off the pedal, whatever. Just, stay focused, man. And hopefully we can get them this Friday.
And I think they can. Thanks for the call, Eddie. That's the thing. You got to learn from this. You just can't let it happen again. They may lose another game or 2 to the Pacers, but not in this fashion. Hell no. That's fun. I was laughing at the end of it because I think I tweeted, I'm like, nah, hell nah. Like, you can't, like, that can't happen. It's one thing to lose. It's a whole other thing to lose when you were up like this. Like, can't happen now. Learn from the mistake and just be ready. Just be ready and like finish the job. Like, I remember when the Yankees did lose game 5 and I came here, my whole message was just like, yo, it ain't over till it's over. Run through the tape. I was so like distraught after that game. Like, don't count your eggs before they hatch. I was using all those cliches about like finish the job. Job's not finished. Run through the tape. Like, I just was so disappointed. I'm like, they were up 5-0. They had that game. And baseball is a completely different sport than basketball. But damn, does that not feel like the same? Like, if you're a Knicks fan, Yankee fan, does that not feel the same? Watching a game of that magnitude in the postseason playoffs where you reach this high, it's almost euphoria that you reach as a fan thinking, yeah, we got it. We got it. You're not thinking about losing at all. And then one thing goes wrong and another thing goes wrong and it snowballs and you unravel and melt in the moment. And it's like, no way. Okay. Like, unfortunately for the Yankees, that was it. That was an elimination game. They were facing elimination. For the Knicks, that's the first game. They're not facing elimination. So bounce back. Let's go to Reggie in White Plains. Reggie, you're live.
Hey, what's up, man? Listen, I know you were driving in, you didn't see it, but make sure you check this out. So this actually shocked me. Interested to see if C-Mac or anyone else caught this. So Brunson's become my guy. I've been telling all my friends, listen, that don't like the Knicks. You got to check it out because of Jalen Brunson. So in the regulation, you hear all this talk about Cat missing the free throw, but Brunson had the ball in his hands there. Pacers looking to foul. And Brunson gave that ball up for some reason to Cat. I don't know why, but when that happened, that's when I was like, oh, what? Like, why would he give that ball up there? And, because they were going to foul him if he didn't give it up. And it was almost like he was like, get this out of my hands. I was a little scared about that. So just make sure you check that out at the end of regulation.
Yeah, just some uncertainty, right? Like Brunson not looking as confident because I mean, late in games, no one looks more confident than Brunson with the ball in his hands, whether he's shooting it or passing it, right? Like, he's very sure of himself.
Yeah, that moment was very weird, man. Just definitely check that out so you can see what you think.
Yeah, I'll try and find it. Thanks for the call, Reggie. 888-808-1019. I feel like I might have seen it. I feel like that, like, you know, like I said, there was a huge chunk of the fourth quarter that I listened to, and then even a chunk of that fourth quarter that I listened to that I missed because I was in the tunnel. But regardless, like I saw how they lost. They lost a bunch of different ways. The Knicks lost this game like 8 different ways. Oh no, they got the video of Halliburton's dad in the bar. Halliburton's dad got banned after he got in Giannis' face. They got his dad in the bar dancing, doing the choke sign. They could not bring this man to the Garden. That's a win. At least Halliburton's dad is banned from the games. He wasn't in the Garden. Carlos is in the car on the Fan. Go for it, Los. You're on.
Hey, G, first time. I always listen to you. Appreciate you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
But you hit the head just now, just before I got on. I watched that game. I'm at work, and I watched that game on my telephone, and I didn't understand. I understand Brunson's the man. He's our closer. I just think he brought him back too early because we were moving. They were playing D. They were running up and down the court, and then you bring Brunson back with 5 fouls, and then he's a liability because he's letting them take easy layups.
Right.
Fouling it, he can't foul it out. I just think he brought him back a little early, and then I think we used our challenge too early. We had no challenge late, and there was a lot of calls. If he called that, if he would have challenged, it might have changed the momentum. We got the ball back. Look at the block that what's his name had that went off the backboard. He clearly went off the backboard. That's 2 points there. That changes the momentum. I just think too, he didn't slow the game down. I mean, if we would have just walked up the wall 24 seconds and not even taken a shot, we probably still would have won the game. It's that crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and like, this was just a different kind of game at the end. Like, Brunson went to the bench, and the Knicks were doing their thing. It threw me for a loop because the script is always, once we get to the fourth quarter, we got the closer, best player in the game. He's gonna close it out. They're gonna win. But the Knicks were rolling without him, where it was like, yo, you don't need it. But then when they bring him back, kind of throws everything off. So I don't know. It's a regrettable decision now. And it's also tough because everybody loves Brunson, right? King of New York. Just made me think of something. King of New York, and he can do no wrong. But, yeah, he screwed up a couple times down the stretch, and it cost him. It made me think, well, I just laughed. And shout out to Ian Begley, because Ian Begley was the only person that I saw that came out and was like, respectfully, this is too much. So if you saw yesterday, every player on the Knicks roster got his name on a sign somewhere in the city for a street. Like West 11th Street is now like Jalen Brunson Avenue, but even like DeLon Wright got a street. And I guess Eric Adams gave the thumbs up for that. But there were some people, and Ian Begley was the first one I saw. There were some people that were like, yo, this is corny. This is too much. And on the same day that New York decides, okay, we're going to give everybody on the Knicks team a street name, the Knicks blow game 1 in historic fashion. So you can blame it on that. Like, I always look for little things like that. I'm superstitious as hell. I always look for things like that where I'm like, this is what did it. This was a step too far. Everybody got a street name. Even guys that got DMPs got street names. Nah, we didn't need to do that in New York. We didn't need to do that. Mooney is in Wayne, New Jersey on the Fan. What's up, man?
Yeah, bro. We called you the other night. I just got home, bro. The traffic in the tunnel was crazy. I had to whip around and get to the bridge to get home, man.
Wow.
Also, I was in the building. I got a couple things I want to say. Number one, the energy was insane. It was in section 110. The energy was insane. But I think the last caller said that he brought Brunson back soon. I was thinking, in my opinion, why you got him on the bench? Let's get him back in and let's close this game out.
Yeah, it got tricky, right? It got tricky because it's like they were winning without him. But, if you go back to that Detroit series, that game they lost where people fried Tibbs because he didn't take a timeout to bring him back in, they weren't going to lose this game, but then they ended up losing the game.
Yeah, man, I was screaming like, bring him back in. Why are we waiting? Bring him back, and we gotta finish the game. You can't let these guys get any hope. Bring them back in and punish them and end this game. We were 2 minutes away from ending the game. But what I'm gonna also say is, this is devastating. This is my first ever Eastern playoff home game. I've been to a playoff home game last year. This is my first time in the Garden for a playoff home game. What a tough way to lose. But I'm trying to find some silver linings. So they got the craziest bounce I've ever seen. They had a crazy Nimhart barrage of threes. Halliburton had a great game. Turner played good. Toppin played good. They got a lot of good stuff from their guys. And they got the refs. And I'm not trying to blame the refs, but the refs were horrific tonight. It wasn't their fault. All we need to do is make our free throws.
Yep.
All that stuff on their side, and they won just barely. I think we're a better team. Obviously, we gave one. We got to come out Friday night, punch them right in the mouth, go into Indiana, punch them in the mouth in Indiana, and show them who's the better team. Now it's time to show up. You gave one up. You had no reason to give it up. But I think what I take away from tonight is we are the better team. We just need to finish. Peace.
Yeah. Thanks for the call. Unfortunately, that it sucks. Like I said that to Mark out in California. I'm like, damn, you travel here to go to that game. You pay the money to go to that game, and that's an all-time bad one, and you'll tell that story forever. I mean, at least you see a Brunson 40 ball, but it's a waste of a 43-point performance. I don't know what to tell y'all, man. The bright side of it is it's one game. So now the Knicks have 6 games to win 4. And now the home court advantage is even. And now Friday it's not a must win, but it is a must win. And it's a must win to erase this one. One, you even it up, and 2, just to get it out of your mind and to set a tone again. Like, okay, yeah, you won't be able to do mathematically. You will not be able to do what you did in game 1. You're not going to shoot that well down the stretch. You're not going to get that lucky bounce. Like, damn, it took so many breaks for the Pacers to pull that off. I don't think they'll be able to pull it off again. Not like that. They'll win some games maybe in this series, maybe another 1 or 2. But the way that they did that, I don't see it happening again. In Great River, we got Michael on the fan. Hello, Michael.
Good morning, Keith. I got back from the Bronx a few moments ago. I was at the last 2 Yankees games and both the Rangers games so far. It's really amazing to feel so loudly after a walk-off home run because of the Knicks. I had the game on my portable radio. There was so much energy by the time I got down to the platform at the Metro North station after for the Knicks after the Yankees won. And then on that train ride in the Grand Central is when the Knicks just started to really manufacture ways to lose. Monica McNutt was right on it, kind of like you were saying with the rush possessions. I remember her, she was like right in the middle of making that point, and then Karl-Anthony Towns missed the 3 a few seconds into the shot clock. I think it was like an air ball that went out of bounds. And I want to nitpick this type of collapse because really like the type of loss where basically one single thing, anything down the stretch needed to go differently, and the Knicks would have won. But like pretty much everything went wrong. Just so many missed chances, and so many bad breaks. That almost kind of reminds me a little of the New England versus Atlanta Super Bowl from a few years ago. I guess almost a decade ago at this point. But I also really don't like seeing them get outscored in the 3rd and 4th quarters and overtime. That's not really great. The only other thing to say, I'm so angry, of course. I could not be angry, but we're about to see what this team is made of. I don't really know what else to say because I'm not going to sleep too well tonight, but because we'll just see what they can do Friday and the games after that.
Yeah, they got to bounce back. Thanks for the call, Michael. It is tough when you're a fan of, Yankees or the Mets and they have a good night. And like I said, those wins don't hold any weight compared to what a Knicks win would have held. And like this Knicks loss feels really heavy. Last call of the night goes to Jose in Newark. What's up, Jose? You're on.
Hey, what's up, Keith? First time speaking to you, long time listener.
two things. Go for your Yankees. They're doing a good job. Got beat up on the Mets, but you know what? It's only fun between two New York teams. Another thing he should have just left Brunson out, because he was already 5 fouls, one more he's out, and they would have won the game because he was even confused. He wasn't even bouncing the ball right. It was just like making a lot of bad dribbles, and he was confused. He was like, why would he bring me in now? But anyway, it's only one game. It's just like how I look at the Mets. They lost like 4 straight, and today they win, and they're going to start winning again. It's all in the sport. That's all. That's all I got to say, Keith. Thank you for listening. I go way back from the snoozer. Have a good night, brother.
Thanks for the call, Jose. Yes, it's only one game, and it's the first game. Only one game and the first game. Now, I don't want to end it on this note, but something I did not know. This was just brought up by Will G in my chat. Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, same city, right, as the Pacers, he passed yesterday. And I just looked that up, and people were like, the Pacers sacrificed Jim Irsay? Crazy. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay. I know he wasn't the greatest guy and all, but still, God bless the dead. Wow. Anyway, that's all I've got. Looking forward to Big Mac's show. Like I said, I know Big Mac had to reverse course, probably putting together his show, watching that game. I had to reverse course live. The Yankees post game ended at the same time that the Knicks ended. Big Mac's coming up next. Good night. All right, that's all I got. We'll do this again tomorrow. Bourbon Legend. I do remember. I forgot that you told me that we had met in Tampa, and now that counts. So yeah, I'll follow you back when I get home and I see your Twitter account. Appreciate all y'all, man. Let me see. I gotta hit the outro, but I also remind y'all on YouTube, boop, 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 and everybody on Twitter, mostly. Over 2,000 people on Twitter. Most of these people are on Twitter. Appreciate you guys following me on Twitter. I saw my pin tweet has almost 100,000 views. So the brand is strong. McPherson brand right there. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Good night.